Whoa, yeet. Whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Hey. Hey. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Happy to see you guys in here. It's the trade room, y'all. We got charts today. We go macro. We thinking big picture. Let's go now. Let's go now. Let's go now. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. This is about to be fun. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. It's a macro Saturday. We got things to talk about. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Listen, like, subscribe, put your alerts on. I'm happy to see y'all here today. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Hey, welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. We're gonna get started soon, guys. Love you guys for showing up. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share with a friend. It's time to get litty. See you soon.
What's up? What's up on this macro Saturday? And welcome to the trade room, y'all. We are still in the early stages of 2024, but boy, do things look good at the current moment. Now, on this macro Saturday, we're starting a little bit earlier than we usually do, but that's because we have a special guest in the building that I will be introducing soon. All right. Shout out to the chat room. We have a few folks in here from Christian Peter to Facundo to Skiller. Who else we have in here? Two noobs. Zan has been doing some amazing things in the community. But guys, we're going to talk a bit about what we have lined up for today before we jump into everything. And we're going to have our special guest on soon. But if you are here, thank you for making it here. Make sure to put a thumbs up. Make sure, if this is your first time here, to subscribe and put your alerts on. I'll put my alerts on my favorite people so that I do not miss a stream. So, what do we have for this macro Saturday? And as macro people, we think and talk big picture. All right. We are going to have DFK Helper and the one and only Zealous on with us. We're going to talk everything about DFK Helper. We're going to talk about development in this space. And we're going to see big brain into a developer's mind to give us what? To give us more of a macro aspect of what is happening in this space. So, without further ado, I am going to bring Zealous onto this stage. Whoa. Good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to the trade room.
Hey, man, how you doing? I've been looking
I'm
forward to this. And what folks watching don't know is that I've been trying to get you for, gosh, months, right?
yeah. This has been one in the makings here. And it's finally come down, and I'm pretty excited about it. You know, we're gonna get into this, but one of the reasons why I'm super excited about interviewing you today is because I came into DeFi Kingdoms, from the investor's mindset, right? Not even the gamer's mindset, from the investor's mindset. I came in and I'm now a gamer, but more importantly, career-wise, I shifted over from the fitness and sales industry
Oh, no way.
over to the yes, sales is not the greatest thing. But I shifted
Is
over
that why you're so shredded,
to
man?
that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But I shifted over to the technology space, and I put DeFi Kingdoms and crypto to the test of the basics that I've learned in the technology space, and I must say it's passed, right? And so being able to then tap into your mind and your thought process on this space, which some of our U.S. representatives thinks it's absolute crap. Being able to tap into someone who is in the weeds and the works and the mechanics and seeing what your thought process is has been super important to me because I do not know it all, right? That's why I try to tap into everybody. And
You
it's been
sound like you know it all, though.
not
About
at
so many
all,
things, too. Yeah.
not
I've
at
listened
all.
to you
Now,
for a while, man.
yeah, I appreciate that, right? And so today's objective really is to give away an amazing Gore staff that speaks to the technology of the space that we're in. And we're going to talk more about that. But we're really going to dig into your background and how you got into DFK before we even dig into the AI slash technology, portion of things. But if we can just kick this off with just give us an understanding of who you are, um, and what you're doing in this space, and that kind of lead us off to a good start.
All right. So I'm the sole dev for the DFKH AI. Like to distinguish between DFKH, the organization, which is an organization intended to help everybody in DFK, with the AI, which is one of the automation tools that's available. It's not the intent to advertise the AI or DFK just an organization. It's in a way it's like a guild. That's the way I see it. DFKH is like a DFK guild, um, maybe even the largest one, right? Though people that are part of DFKH are also part of guilds. So we're also a meeting place between the guilds. Anyway, so I've been developing the AI and DFKH stuff for over 2 years now. And before, you probably heard this, but before I started doing this, I had never coded before. I also didn't go to school for that. My career field is U.S. military contracting. Did that for a super long time. I'm a really good executive. It's like running a business, operations, various departments, stuff like that. Like nothing to do with with coding, right? If I needed anything like this, I would have just hired somebody. I wouldn't get on in it. But what happened is that nobody was developing enough in DFK, and I mean, it was necessary for the game, which is to say, I was in love with the game. I had friends that tried it out for a bit, and they're like, "Oh, it's too repetitive," and I'm like, "No, no, just wait. You know, more's coming. This is just the beginning." They're like, "Yeah, I'll come back later." So I was like, "Oh man, how can I help people stay in the game, you know, while the playable features are coming out?" And yeah, that's where this thing came from. And nobody else wanted to build it. Um, in fact, when I've asked the others for help, they're like, "Give me 30 grand, give me 50 grand," which, you know, is consistent with the grants that DFK was giving in the beginning, like Lila's Ledger and stuff like that, right? They got these really big grants. And yeah, that's what people wanted. And they're like, "Well, if you don't pay me this, I'm going somewhere else." And I'm like, "But it's DFK, man. You know, this is not some job, right? This is passion work." And yeah, I simply couldn't find any coders that could spare any time. So I had to learn it, do it myself. And so I did for a long time, just by my lonesome. Coolio was helping me with marketing and answering questions and accounting and things like that. And then I found DCR, Dirty Cajun Rice. And I don't know if you know him. Do you know him,
No,
DCR?
I don't. I don't.
So you got to meet him. He is, and I'm not exaggerating, the smartest, most proficient coder on the face of the earth.
Wow.
On the face of the earth. Like this man can do in one day what it would take a team 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, no exaggeration. And KP, Christian, he can attest to this because he's worked also with DCR. And yeah, anyway, so DCR, you know, he's super busy. He's like the top dollar coder out there. So we're lucky to get him, you know, 10 minutes a month. But whenever I talk to him, and we talk often, I learned so much, so much. He's leveled me up.
That's
Yeah.
that's super awesome. You know, in this space, you just keep finding more and more and more great minds. And the question that you have to ask yourself is, why are so many great minds willing to come into this GameFi space and put their brain bandwidth in this space? A lot of times doing it without any sort of pay, doing it just off of the
Love.
building, the love, the intention behind it. And, you know, from what you gave us about a bit of the starting point of how you got in here, you know, you can come into the space and say, "Hey, yeah, you want me to build? Pay me 30 grand," right? Or you can come in and understand that the building, the effort and energy you put in is the 30 grand. That's the you know, the monetary aspect of things comes later, right? And you know, one of the things that I like to say is that volume precedes price, right? And so in the charts, when we look at the charts, yes, you'll see volume before you see price. That's one of the
Right.
greater indicators to me. But also too, in the development space, especially if you're looking at any blockchain, if you're looking at even, you know, people talk about Solana a lot and how they have developers there, and there's so many developers there building out projects. In the DeFi Kingdom space, we have developers coming every single month, creating things like these donation tools, creating things like third-party
Yeah, that's
applications
so
for
cool.
analytics, coming in like Zealous himself, and being able to help 1/3 of the hero base be able to have some sort of automation. So as you spoke to the fact that, hey, this is kind of a Discord without being a Discord, because it's a community of its own, and within that, say, quote unquote Discord, you're seeing analytics and numbers that pertain to where the ecosystem, is going. So definitely appreciate a bit of that background. And as you were talking, I shifted over to a Twitter post that you made October of 2023, where what is the DFK Helper AI? It's helping you stay on top of your DeFi Kingdoms gaming. Did you know that DFK chain processes more transactions than any other blockchain, including AVAX C chain, and most of the transactions are generated by DFK Helper AI community. And so the AI aspect is something that I did want to focus on, but as soon as you said this is kind of a guild, it just kind of click blew my mind. Is this kind of the semi quasi basic biggest guild in the entire ecosystem? You just gave me a mind tweak right there.
Yeah, so like I one way to explain this observation is a lot of people have come into DFK and left, right? You probably know a whole lot of people. Um, gosh, thousands, right?
Mhm.
Mainly because the majority of people were interested only when the bull market was in place, which will happen again and again. But regardless, a lot of people left. But you know who didn't leave? The people that were using DFKH, that
Mm.
were in the DFKH community. And I think it's just because we form an even tighter bond. The guilds, they have their own bonds, and they also are really good at keeping their people. So if someone has joined a guild, they're much more likely to stay. But when they join the FKH, it goes even further. Like
Yeah.
we've lost, gosh, I don't know, 4 users out of hundreds in 2 years.
Wow.
So
Wow.
basically, the retain rate is like 99.9%.
Wow, that is incredible. I mean, that's information I didn't even know. And, speaking of coming from a sales background, you're always looking at KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. And hey, if I was retaining 90 something percent of
Of
the people
anything,
that I
right?
had come into the gym, I probably wouldn't have switched the industries. So that's absolutely incredible. And I think that looking for to give exposure to this sort of aid is important because those who did leave have no clue about these services, and those who are considering coming in, you're going through tons of layers before you then get to a part where you say, oh, this can make this easier for me. So um, I mean, man, thanks. I'm gonna run this back, I'm sure, 2 or 3 times just to be able to log these things down. But I am going to look into DCR and find out more about them because I just have a high respect for those working on the back end. Even someone like Magnus, who I hear in the AMAs often as well. Just all the work that's being put in on the back end is really what is really what gets me going, right? The front end stuff, cool. We want our users to enjoy it and to see, but the back end stuff really gets me going. Shout out to the chat. The chat is really doing this thing, going in a few conversations. I mean, we have a lot of eyeballs on the stream, and there's a question of what's going on. Yeah, it may have a part to do with some of the different content that we're laying out, and it may have a
The
part to do
giveaways.
with the giveaways, with the Gore staff that we are going to be giving away. But love, 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 love seeing the community here. So as we wrap up, just the intro of who you are and how you got into this space, and really just starting coding from scratch. I mean, that's it's unbelievable. You know, if you're not
You're in love
in,
with something, man.
yeah,
You
if
can
you're
do
in love with
anything.
something, you can do
Anything.
anything, and that actually leads me to 2 topics that we're going to touch on before we really dive into, game development. One of them is, you did a stream with Christian Peter, and you guys covered a lot of these, just the starting blocks of, DFK Helper, how it got started, and you reiterated some of that too where it just started from you just helping one individual and flourished
And
to,
like,
where we are now, where you're helping an entire community. And I thought that was really important to highlight. And so, I want to get your thoughts on where development is going. But beforehand, I just want to touch base on, my experience with DFK Helper and coming in. And I've had so many experiences with DFK Helper, but one of the experiences I had was coming in and going through the initial process of signing up for a tool that was going to help make life easier for me, right? Instead of
hence
having
helper in
to
the name.
do right helper, instead of having to do 500 clicks within the day, it was going to just easily be, oh, do I have something to harvest? Awesome. One click.
I see it like power steering. You're still steering the car. You still need to be behind it. You still got to make the
Right,
decisions and everything. And there's a whole lot of other
right.
stuff you're also doing other than just turning the steering wheel. But the
Yep,
power
yep.
steering makes life bearable.
Makes life so much better. Even cruise, right? Being able to drive on cruise has made driving an easier thing. So, first and foremost, guys, if you're not following my YouTube, make sure to follow it. We are a few subscribers away from 200. And aside from this giveaway that we're currently doing, we're doing some other awesome giveaways as well. So let's go ahead and let's drive us to that 200 marker, because we are giving away 5 moxa rooms to 8 different winners. And if you haven't
That's
seen
40
the price
rooms.
action, if you haven't seen the price action of moxa runes, you definitely want to tap in to get a taste of this. Not only that, we're also giving away 2 rare heroes. One of them being a rare archer, who is gonna be a badass combination to your boar hunt team. And we're also giving away the meme coin of DFK DeFi Kingdoms, which is 1,000 bloaters. So if you are not partaking in this, make sure to go on our Twitter and partake. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube to get a lot of these treats. Christmas isn't over. We are continuing to give away. But kind of wrapping up that conversation about how I got started with DFK Helper, I came in and, some individuals, have this quarrel about DFK Helper where they say what? They say, well, you know what? I don't know. My private keys, I don't trust anybody, and it's understandable, right? Because
Somebody's still
in
saying that?
it's somewhat understandable because, if you've been in this crypto space, even one cycle, right? You, and if you haven't experienced some sort of compromise in a way, you probably haven't been here long enough. But then you understand with offense comes defense, and that you have to make sure to set up yourself in the best defensive position when it comes to protecting your assets. So, one of the things I really love about DFK Helper is that there is protected avenues in every single step that you take. And
Getting to know you.
yeah, and in order to activate DFK Helper, you have to encrypt your private keys, and you have to then get that to the helper, which is the tool in which that you are using, which then has an admin, right? And so, God forbid something ever were to happen, I can directly come to Zealous and say, "Hey, man, there's no other party that knows of this transaction here other than you." And even in that case, you have mechanisms in the background to protect this transfer of information, which then allows you to automate your transfer of value. And so my story and my background is that when I came in, there was a little bit of a hiccup with Mac OS, right? Because you know that operating system, and we're going to talk about
We hadn't done any videos.
the technology in a bit, because that's just geeks me to talk about it. But there's encryption needed, and so as somebody who was coming into the technology space for the first time, I took on the challenge of let me figure out PGP encryption. And when I tell you that was probably the greatest 2 weeks ever in my short IT career, for me to just go in, have an issue, troubleshoot it, fix it, and then put it out for the community to also utilize was amazing, because I had to go into the weeds and I had to figure out PGP encryption. And when I figured it out, it was like a Cambrian explosion in my mind as to, and it confirmed how bullish I was on the ecosystem, because you're taking traditional technology, bringing it into the blockchain space, and then meshing it in to provide services for thousands of NFTs now, over 1 million NFTs. And so that's my background. Any thoughts on that, as to how DFK has not only helped me and my heroes, but has helped to also train my mind in the technology space?
Yeah, so I guess I've kind of had to force everybody to learn something that they didn't already know, you know. But the same happened to me, right? I had to invent it, and to invent it, I had to learn. And so the way it happened is, have you ever used another automation tool?
Honestly, no.
Okay. Yeah, because you came in a little bit later, you know, but there were a bunch of tools out there that are no longer really getting maintained, or just do auto questing, which I wouldn't consider automation.
Hmm.
But you know, like Diffkey and Waifu. And the issue with these programs is the configuration. So
Hmm.
the way that you set everything up, the only way you set everything up is you have like this notepad file, right?
Hmm.
And it's this notepad file with potentially hundreds or thousands of lines. You just scroll through and you're trying to find the setting, you know, this hero's, you know, stats for leveling, or the items that you can sell or whatever. It's just this mess. It's just this mess of data, and there's no easy way to edit it. And if you make a mistake, the whole thing is
Hmm.
gone. So
Mm.
I'd been using spreadsheets at work, so I thought, you know, let's try this Google Sheets thing out, see how this works. And it, you know, it started off with just one little tab that would have like your chat ID and you know, your OX for your wallet. And, you know, that was pretty much it. And it evolved into this massive thing we have today that lets you do anything you want, but you don't actually have to do anything, right? Like there's people that join and they just turn it on. They don't mess with anything. They don't enter any heroes, nothing. They're just like full auto, take care of it for me. But yeah, the granular detail, this division into separate tabs, so you know, you go to exactly what you're trying to find. The fact that you can edit it from your phone, you know, the Google Sheets app on mobile is amazing. You can do anything. So you can be at the beach, you know, and make 1,000 heroes go on sale or whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I literally experienced that. I experienced traveling, literally being on the beach, and just having my items work, but my bots work for me. And we even have a comment here from the chat. Helper helped me get 3 moksha runes today. I mean, even when you talk about the game in itself, right? Just to wake up, check your phone, and be like, oh my gosh, I landed 3 motion runes today. It gives that gamified, euphoric feeling. It's cool to click and click and click and click and click and click and then see, oh yeah, I got one. But in my estimation, from my experience, the bots or the automation actually works much better than my clicking. I don't know what it is. I don't know the kind of luck that's running in. It must be parts of the algorithm, but they have much better luck than me, right? And so what you're speaking of is this spreadsheet here that really organizes everything for you, allows you to have absolute and full control of what you are doing, and it's astronomical. And I even had to go through a little bit of a learning process myself. Again, you're forcing us to be better. You're forcing us, if we want our ecosystem, right? DeFi Kingdoms, command your legion, claim your legacy. We're so invested in claiming our legacy that we're getting into these tools. And I'm telling you, even when I go to work, some of the things I've learned here in this space, applying myself has been super beneficial for me at work as well.
You can
So,
now put Google Sheets on your CV, right?
yeah.
DFKH University right here.
Literally. So we bounced a little bit around. It's just because there's a few things that we can cover all at once, right? So now I want to give a little bit promo to the giveaway that we're going to be doing before we jump over into the next topic. All right. Guys, if you're here, thank you for being here. We're having some really interesting conversation. Make sure to put your thumbs up if you haven't yet. Make sure to subscribe, put your alerts on. If you're not following DFK Helper on Twitter, make sure to do so. And if you have any questions, make sure to send a message either to myself, to Zealous, anybody else on the team, anybody else that you would like to find out more or get directed to the proper place. If you're still here, just know we are doing this giveaway. All right. Most likely going to do it probably in about 45 minutes or so, and maybe half an hour or so. So, and we'll give the prompt to that. But, you know, we have a core staff here where, if you've been paying attention at all to the recent tournament that's been happening, even the Mythic Squad Void Hunt tournament that's been happening,
Amazing.
and that was actually pretty great to see. Well, it was amazing. All day streaming, one platform to the next, watching your favorite player, watching your
Live
favorite content
with the
creator
commentary
go in
from
there,
Ogre and
battle
Lawrence.
live. Oh my goodness, was it amazing? I mean, it
So
was
good.
amazing. And I think more of that is coming. And I think honestly, the team saw that and it just confirmed so much of where we have to go. But what we saw in that was the priest. The priest was really critical to what's needed to be done within the game. And seeing that it's one of the only codexes for Magic that's been released, and seeing how critical and intricate it was to passing through, only gives more bullish onus to equipment for these Magic users. And so we have this Gore staff here that we're going to be giving away, and a part of what you need in order to win is that you have to be an active Discord member on the DFK Discord. So, Zealous, do you want to give us some information just on what it's going to take to qualify for this? We are going to set up, we are going to spin the wheel, we are going to take names, but just that last part, why that's important to make sure that you are part of the Discord community.
Yeah. So our concern was, I mean, I didn't know
Sorry,
so many
Zealous.
people. You muted me? I'm good.
No. You're good. You're good to go.
Yeah, sorry, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So we were worried that people were going to show up. Not as many people as have shown up right now that we can see, but we were worried that a bunch of people that are new to DFK or that don't care about DFK were going to join for the airdrop. They're going to take the Gore Blade or whatever, and then sell it and disappear, right? And so to prevent something like that, since what we're actually trying to do is reward community members, we decided to follow in the steps of DFK. So like DFK, whenever they do a current contest, like the Tuesdays ones, they require that you have the active hero role in DFK Discord. The way that you get that role is just by being active a couple of weeks, I guess. Just chatting here and there. Boom, you get that status for life. So the majority of players have active hero. So that's it. That's the only requirement, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you can see it here with Zealous' profile as the active hero role. And quite honestly, I'm seeing why we're getting so many heads in here. Uh, because we have all of the entire, it's a part of the Discord, the DFK Discord in here. So we're going to have many people that qualify here as well. So that's pretty awesome. So guys, if you want your priest, all right, to be pimped out with the gore staff, we're seeing how beneficial these priests have been to some of these gaming void hunts that's been going on as well. you know Make sure to stay tuned for the actual giveaway. So, we talked a bit about DFK, we talked a bit about the game, we talked a bit about the boar hunts that's happened. And I want to get into the weeds more with you in terms of some of the technology, right? And so first and foremost, what are your thoughts? And I'm going to give some feedback as to the internet, the OSI layer, and where we are in the age and growth of the internet, the age and growth of the crypto space. What are your
You
thoughts on
might
the
teach me
technology
something.
behind DeFi Kingdoms, the game itself? And then, yeah, what are your thoughts on the DeFi Kingdoms, the game itself? And then we'll lead into your thoughts on just DFK Helper and the technology behind it. What are your thoughts on the technology behind DeFi Kingdoms, the game itself? Because from my end, when I came in and I saw that in the early days, right? And I'm going to share a picture here of the early days of DeFi Kingdoms. In those early days, when I saw NFT, DeFi, gamification and blockchain, that was the first indicator. Okay, something is different here. So, give me your thoughts on the technology behind DeFi Kingdoms. Your thoughts on it, and as we look at this nostalgic old picture here.
So, so one thing about me is that people say that I make like really good decisions, but in actuality, what people don't know is that I usually wing it. Right? It just comes out. It's just a gut feeling, and that's how it happened with this. Yeah, the first time that I saw this, I was dumbstruck. Like I was speechless. I stared at it for hours. I was just like getting like visions. I went full schizo. I had visions of what was going to become, what could be done with it. And later on, I got to watch one of Frisky's streams where he got interviewed, and he spoke about it, and everything he said confirmed my daydreams, basically, of what this thing is. And you hear me repeating what he said, Ready Player One, which is basically like the meeting place and for all games, being able to bring in NFTs from anywhere
Mm-hmm.
and travel to anywhere. Just this idea that everything is connected, the idea that this is a game that is eternal, it's going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, putting that aside, you're talking about the tech. So gosh, I'd have to say one of a kind, pioneer, right? There's nothing like it. They've invented most of the things that are being used, they just came up with right? It's just the brainchild of Hubert and Magnus and Frisky. They just boom out of nowhere, and not just like the blockchain, and not just the insane diamond contract structure that they have going on, or like a spider web. Just the all the considerations that they have to make in order to optimize the code. I mean, everything we're doing has never been done before. There's no game that takes place entirely on the blockchain. No other. Not like this. Um, Now, that said, the team has realized that not everything can be done entirely on the blockchain, or at least it's not a good idea as we grow, because the blockchain is limited basically in speed, how much it can process, compute, and memory as well is an issue. And so they've done things like the hunts, which is the number one feature I'd been waiting for since before I created the AI, because I was thinking, the AI is going to help with the boring routine stuff that you need to help you out. It's like the AI is going to be like your squire, right? He's carrying your shoes, he's wiping your boots, he's brushing your horse, that kind of thing. But hunts is an example of my dream, which is to say that the AI just sets it up for you. Make sure you got what you need, make sure you got the potions, make sure the heroes are rested, they're leveled up, that kind of thing. It gets them ready, and then it's yours to actually do it. So yeah, that was my vision. And oh, but I digressed. Technology.
Yeah,
Anything in particular I'm going to say
yeah, no,
aside
no,
from
that's
so one of the
no,
issues?
that's awesome. I think it's important to get the feedback from developers' mind as to what you saw being put into work even before all these developments, right? The tavern did not look like this 2 years ago with hunts and the visage shop, and even the barkeep was something that was developed and added on a little bit later. Then you have DFK duels, right? So just
When did you join,
one
if you don't mind my
section could
asking?
just be a game of its own. And this DeFi Kingdoms.
Yes.
Yeah, I got into
Did you just
DeFi
blush or
Kingdoms. What was it? Late October, late October of 2021. So I got in pretty
Beautiful.
early.
Yeah. You
Because
saw
I
it
hang
all.
out on Twitter and you see these
You
high
saw it all, yeah.
APRs, and yes, yes, I saw it all. I had the good, the bad, the dirty, the sad, you know. I saw it all. And through it all, there were some psychological and emotional battles that
Anything crypto, no?
you have to you end up going through, but yeah, but at the end of the day, you look around and you're like, well, no one else is doing this. So
Not
I'm
even
gonna at
close.
least stay, you know? And down the line, yeah, down the line, you're just like, whoa, okay, this is different. This is way different. Um, so so yeah, that context is important, right? Going that feedback on the technology, the
But
diamond
it's not
contracts, and even
just
with
you
those
and me,
diamond contracts, you're right. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we have like a 10-second delay before you hear me. Tick, 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 tick. There's a little bit of
Yeah, I
lag.
think there is a bit of a delay. What I've noticed, yeah, what I've noticed is sometimes when I'm moving through the game itself, it creates a bit of a lag. So
Ah,
I'm gonna close
oh
out the
yeah.
game itself and just see if it smoothens out a little bit. But come on, that speaks to what you're saying about scalability and bandwidth, and the team
Exactly.
noticing some of those things. And so,
Consider when we started
what are
playing the
you,
game, right? It was just, the tiers. We got some gold, um, We got some ragweed. We got some bloaters. It took months for us to see eggs, not because they weren't in the game, but just because they were so hard to get.
Yeah.
And now we have dozens of items. We got so many tokens. We got millions of heroes. We got hundreds of thousands of pets and equipment now for all those heroes is coming into place. And soon we're going to be crafting, mass producing. We're going to be mass producing equipment. I mean, just, and the game has to check all of these things on the blockchain. It's not like a regular game that it just has, like one feed and everything is there. No, it has to constantly check both chains potentially for all your stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
really, really great job by Beetle Dude and everybody maintaining this monster, this pioneering monster. Of course, it's going to get more optimized over time, right? Because basically, this is like the T Ford. We're at the beginning of a new tech, and we're making it up as we go. We're inventing as we go. But yeah, what they have done so far with such a small team, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I would say astronomical, actually. And again, it's one thing to look
Einstein
at it.
level.
Yes, it's one thing to look at it if you have no experience in what it takes to do the back end of things, opposed to when you actually see what's going on, what it takes, and you're like, my goodness, right? And so we're gonna spend about 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the internet, right? Because none of this is possible without the internet, right? And the internet was something that the building blocks of the internet started in what, the 70s, right? And eventually in the 90s is really when you got a launch pad with the
Commercial.
internet, right? You went commercial. It started touching the stock and equities market with the IPOs of these internet companies, and then 90% of them went to zero, and then 10% of them existed. And so with the OSI model, which deals with all the layers it takes to allow the internet to function in the way that it's functioning today, all of this took time to develop. And the internet only expounded on that. Now we have exponential growth where the internet is similar to the universe and the solar system itself, where it's forever expanding, right? And so when you talk about blockchain, yeah, Bitcoin was, launched in 2009 or 2010 after, in the midst of the financial crisis. But encryption is something that's been there since even cryptography and the Egyptians, right? When you have blockchain, that's, I believe, when was that? The 80s, or blockchain was somewhere in the mid 80s is
Was
when
it
that
really?
started. Yes, is when that
Wow.
started to be developed. And then what happened, right? You take blockchain, you take the internet, then you take encryption, and then you put it all into one. Satoshi
Pixel
Nakamoto.
art, RPG games,
RPG games, right? And
Dexes.
so what tends to happen with humans is we don't segment things. We find the best of everything and we put it together, right? And it
True.
takes some
Pizza.
growing pains to get through these things. And so, if you don't know anything about the 7 OSI layers or TCP/IP, that's just all the shoves and all the forks and knives and the sledgehammers, that all these things that had to be put in place for you to literally just go on your computer and use your Gmail app, right? Email was something that was very foreign, even as not too long ago, about 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Email was something that was still very foreign, right? Maybe 25 years ago. And so I say this to say that what you're seeing with blockchain technology and the development that's happening is blockchain is kind of coming in, and on a data link level, how we store data, right? The ledgers,
How we
right?
process it.
Just how we process the data, right? Which comes from the data link to the networks, right? Every blockchain is kind of its own network, right? How we transport data, right? Your NFTs and sending them over, to different blockchains, and the internet is what launched the transfer of information at the speed of light. From my estimation, or the trade room's estimation, blockchain is what's going to expedite the movement of value, right?
Oh yeah.
Right now, moving value around, especially cross continent, is still very much antiquated, right? And so, yes, the trajectory of blockchain and Bitcoin and where it's going is filling in some of these gaps in these layers, all the way then to finally what? The application layer, where you're just going in and you're playing your ball hunt and you're getting your loot. And so, the impact of blockchain, it's not just price go up. It's not just, hey, this is a new space that we're in and there's a lot of money to be made from here.
Completely
It is
transformational.
transformational to a degree that we're not taking into, I believe,
No,
its full spectrum. And the implementation of AI within all that, I believe we are set up for 10 to 15 to 20 years of some amazing growth. Some of it is scary. Some of it is scary. Okay. And we have to keep in mind that um, the right the right circumstances have to be in place. And that's why a part of my space is covering what the US is doing on the litigation end, on the frameworks end, right? When the internet first came out, the US had to launch a
politics,
framework, right? NIST had to be
infrastructure.
launched, FedRAMP had to be launched to regulate some of these industries. But we have to be careful about the government coming in, regulating, and not trying to stomp the industry down because it interrupts the you know
It
the
always
system that's
tries. It
already in
always tries, and it fails, right?
place.
The people
It
take over.
does.
They're
It
like, no, no,
does
let us
try.
show you how it's done. Let's move over.
It does try, and it does seem to, well, it only fails what? It only fails if the uh the technology, the implementation that's coming in place, it's actually a useful help to humans, and they then realize, okay, we can't fight it anymore. We got to figure out how to mesh with it. And what's happening with blockchain is, after 12, 13 years, we're seeing that it comes as a help to human beings, let alone the fun part, right? Some human
What is
beings
it
don't
like the
care
six
about,
steps of acceptance or whatever, right?
yes, yeah,
Denial, anger, right? Yep.
yeah,
Government went
yeah.
through all of them.
Yeah, the government is going through that. Government is actually going through a psychological internal battle, and they may need some therapy to get to the acceptance stage.
We're
And
giving
so
them therapy.
we're giving them a run for their money. So yeah, these are the seven oversight layers. We're gonna continue to speak about how blockchain and GameFi is interoperating in these layers, and how it's going to move down the line. But I thought it would be important to touch base on that, right? We touched base on the DFK technology, and from a developer's mindset, how they're doing things that aren't being done. They're leading the way, and when they lead, you see people follow. Now with DFK Helper and the AI, behind it. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what it takes to be able to set up this, where the end user is just seeing a spreadsheet? And even sometimes for the end user, they're like, oh my God, this is so much. But can you just talk a little bit more about the tech behind DFK Helper, and what it takes to give the end user this feeling where they're just opening their phone and saying, oh, awesome, I just got 3 mushrooms.
So I would say that it's like a mix between two priorities. The first priority is, this is crypto, so we got to keep it secure. Um, it shouldn't be too easy to make enormous mistakes that are going to lose you everything you have. Which you can do yourself with just 2-3 clicks, right? 2-3 clicks in your browser with MetaMask somewhere, boom, your stuff is gone. And you can imagine the AI, right? One little glitch anywhere, it would be a total disaster, right? So yeah, so we have to, do that. But at the same time, people want easy, right? So I give you an example. When I started out, when Sandwich Punch was sending me his friends, and they're like, "Hey, set us up with this thing." I was like, "Okay, but we should like encrypt your key and stuff like that." And they're like, "Oh man, I'll just copy paste it right here in Discord. It's good to go." I'm like, "No, man, your PK is like somebody said in the chat, you can't take it back, right? You give that thing is forever." And they're like, "No, you know what? Can I just give you my seed? The private key's too hard to extract out of there. I can't figure out. Let me just give you my seed." No, man, you never want to give anybody your seed. You don't even want to write it down. That's a disaster. You give them access to everything you've got until the end of time in that account. Every future wallet you ever make will fall under that seed. Anyway, so two sides, right? The people that want full control, the fact that we need to protect people, but at the same time, people are like, I don't want to bother with that. Like, for example, somebody sees this spreadsheet and they're like, forget it. I don't need an automation. Forget it. So one of these people was Grady, right? So Grady, he's doing his streams. He's going out into the market, meeting with other influencers and everything. He's busy, right? Super busy guy. He was doing DFK, 20 hours a day. And he comes to me and he says the same thing. He had moved over from Waifu. So he was using Waifu and he moved over to the AI because, I could do so much more. And his first reaction was like, dude, I don't know spreadsheet. What is this? That you have to go to school for this? Like, just courses, right? To learn how to do this stuff. So he made me change the way the AI works. So that's when I created what's called the Legion AI. This also happened at the same time that I had seen Dreamer's video, where he was in Singapore and he does the presentation for the first time of the Legion. And so I was like, you know what? Legion? That's like pretty scary. Like right now we have guys with 13 heroes, 15 heroes, but Legion is something else. And so how are we going to manage that thing? Like even someone that's a total nerd and is retired and has all day to spend on the game, even in that case, they don't want to be adding thousands of heroes to the sheets and updating them every time there's a change and all this. So anyway, so I basically rewrote the whole thing so that it became an AI on top of the AI, which is to say that not only is there an automation tool under the hood, but there is an automation tool to the automation tool, which is to say that there's an AI that configures it for you, basically. So like if you leave the sheet empty and you turn the thing on, it has to make choices. As far as, how you're going to group your heroes, how often they're going to go, so many things, how they're going to level, etc. So yeah, a couple of people haven't done anything with their spreadsheet. So the main purpose of the spreadsheet these days is for those that want one, like a place to organize your stuff, right? Because if you don't have a spreadsheet and you're depending on the game, and you have, I don't know, 1,200 heroes, forget it, right?
Mhm.
Even if you filter, you have pages that go by the hundreds, for pictures at a time, that kind of thing. So you need something like this that can help you organize your mind when you want to just, a quick search. How many of these do I have? Which the DFK Helper website does even better, right? Because it pulls the data live. You don't have to do anything manually. Anyway, so this lets you just fine tune any little aspect of the thing that you want. So for example, let's say that you want a stamina vial a hero. You're at the beach, right? You're at the beach and you hear that you're going to need some high-level archers, some high-level seers for the next hunt. And you're like, man, I don't have much time, or there's a tournament or whatever. I got 6 days. I need to get this guy to level 20. All you have to do is you put the hero ID in the sheet. You click that little check mark that says stamina inject, enabled right there, the purple one, and bam, you're done. the AI will go nuts, filing that hero over and over and over and over and over, and questing them and leveling until they get to where you want them to get. But yeah, is there
Yeah,
anything
that
specific?
was no. That was a wonderful lead up as to and we even have, Skiller in the chat saying, "What? I didn't know that. He didn't know that if you just even if you blindly throw 100 heroes in there, the AI is going to have to make decisions, right? And put you in the best position that it can." And I already stated earlier, the AI already has better luck than I do, right? When it comes to setting up and completing
I don't think
some
it's
of these.
luck. I think it's timing and logic. Because the luck system is based on random chance, and that random chance is predicated on block numbers, as
Mm,
far as we know. And that's why there's a start and a finish. It's because we
yes.
need some randomization.
Yeah.
And the AI is able to basically put, like, if you're doing it in the game manually, you're gonna be doing, like, let's say 20 start quests at the same time, 20 completes at the same time, that kind of thing. But then what happens is that you're using very homogeneous blocks, which is great if those are good blocks to have. So for example,
Hmm.
what you'll see in the game is that if you get one egg and, like, at the same time you're completing multiple quests, you're gonna get several eggs, meaning you're going to get one in this quest, one in the next quest, one in the next quest. It's like that. When it hits together. We see that often. And anyway, the AI just, it spreads it out 24/7, so that you're getting your toe wet at every opportunity.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, like, okay, just like how LCK luck is still a mathematical equation within the game as you play, the way the AI goes about executing its movements and transactions is also calculated in a way. So, luck isn't really luck, it's being able to execute within the proper moments, right? So even in real life, when I found a lucky dollar, right? It was the right set of circumstances,
Right
math
time, right place.
that had to happen for you to, for you to get there. So
It's like
that's
gambling. If you go and you bet everything on one roulette, number four, red number four, you might lose everything and you're out of there in like 5
yeah,
seconds. You came in, you're out of the game. But, if you spread it out, you do it little by little, you think about it, some you observe, you consider the statistics.
yeah.
So to go beyond what you're saying, consider the other features, like the avoid unprofitable questing feature, right?
Hmm.
I don't know if you've noticed, but that has caused gas to go down from the typical 20s that we used to have to now it's averaging like 8. We see it go up to 10, and that's just about it. Then it goes drops down again. In the middle of the night, you might see it at 5. So what's happening is it's so cool. It's so cool to watch. Um, so it's like this. The AI is checking the market price of every quest reward in real time in each realm. And as those prices fluctuate, it calculates what you need to break even as far as gas costs. So it knows roughly how many gas units for computation a transaction will take, like complete this fishing quest with 6 heroes. And it considers against that what the value of the rewards you're going to win on average are. And on average means a couple thousand quests, right? Which means you might get, 5 mokshas today and none for the next 2 months. That's kind of how that works. But on average, so it calculates this. And what's cool is that it causes. So before we used to have situations. So let me say something else. Trying to find a different angle.
Hmm.
So it's not just about the gas price. We're okay with paying any gas price, right? So long as the rewards are good for that gas price. Anything, even if it's $50 to do a transaction or a send, we'll do it if there's a good chance we'll make something off of that.
Hmm.
And which is the case, with other games that are on L1s and whatnot. You have to pay big money to do anything, but the rewards are great. So how do we make sure that the rewards are great? By making sure that the items have a proper supply and demand structure, right? We don't want supply to exceed demand. And while we're waiting for consumption and all this stuff, there are already things in the game that we can use to balance it out. So an example of this is we don't just have to dump items into the trader, we can use the bazaar. People have orders in there. We can fulfill them. We can buy from there as well. And the other thing is the gold vendor, right? So the gold vendor has like, what do you call them? Like minimum numbers, minimum safe numbers. You know, it's like a government subsidy, right? The price of this will never drop below this because gold will be printed, you know, to cover it. So what the AI is doing when it's selling and buying everybody's stuff is it's checking all three markets, right? It's checking the trader, the vendor, and the bazaar, and is finding the best deal.
Wow.
And it's doing it over and over and over across all the accounts. So what happens is the velocity of the items is very high. Like if everybody that's playing the game right now played manually without automation, maybe they'd go in once a week, once every 2 weeks, and sell, you know, their 80,000 ragweeds and 150,000 iron skill. And the moment they did that, the slippage would go nuts, which is what used to happen in the past. Slippage would go nuts. They suffer. Everybody suffers. The market tanks. Other people that sell a couple of minutes later, they get screwed on the price. You know, so then their stuff becomes unprofitable. They quit. That kind of thing. So we don't want that. We want stuff to be moving around. In a healthy economy, stuff is swapping hands constantly from those that want it to those that don't want it. And so that's what it's doing. And in doing so, it maintains like a much more stable price structure. So ever since the avoid unprofitable questing was put into place, what's happened, I don't know if you've noticed, is that the price of items has become more stable and more bullish. And the reason for this is that the AI, it's not just deciding, oh, I'm not going to do any quests. No. It's looking at each individual quest. So for example, it's like, you know what? Foraging right now, it's not bringing very much. Swift Thistle is super low. So we're going to avoid the foraging, which coincidentally is going to cause you to not lose money on gas on doing it, but also it's going to cause the supply of the Swift Thistle on that to freeze, right? Which will bring the demand back into play, and then it becomes profitable again. Not just for you, we're talking about the entire chain, right? The entire ecosystem. Maybe it's really profitable to do gold. Like for example, in Serendale. On Serendale currently, every quest brings in a loss except gold mining. So obviously you would want to gold mine there, but maybe not do anything else. Yeah. Maybe you keep some foragers there, but with the avoid unprofitable, they're waiting for the right moment. They're waiting for that Swift Thistle to go up. Or they're waiting for gas to go down. So yeah, that's been the effect of this thing.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. That was beautifully said, beautifully put together. I think in terms of sentiment towards automation, sentiment, towards and there wasn't even an AI sentiment related to DeFi Kingdoms at all until DFK Helper came in. But before, the sentiment was kind of like, oh, I don't know. But to hear you speak on this, and I already had my general thought process of and theory of economic hardening theory, and this is a theory that's based on stability, a theory that's based on security, a theory that's based on time.
Prosperity right there.
Right. Time and ecosystem structure and business structure and the cycles in which economic markets go through. Right. And so, with DeFi Kingdoms, we had an early economic boom based upon some certain market incentives, but a market that's going through a maturation age has to leave a cycle and start a new one. And
Sure.
as you're developing and you have tools, time only becomes a benefit if the economic structure you have is set up for long-term economic growth, even though you're going to go through your ups and downs in terms of market value. And so seeing and hearing that the AI is a positive proponent to an economic hardening theory that is meant to provide stability, and less of the negative volatility. Volatility is not bad. Volatility is good, but there's also negative volatility.
Opportunities.
Seeing that the AI and DFK Helper can be an aid and proponent to that only makes me more bullish. And only gives me more ideas to go back to my spreadsheet, reanalyze, what I have going on. And you also give feedback as to, hey, this is how you can possibly make your AI better, right? You told me I don't have enough gardeners. So
You
now I'm going to
don't.
go back and take a look and see what I have to do, because I'm forever buying floor heroes because of my opinion, how undervalued they are and how
Sure.
much of a restarting point that floor heroes give you, right? Because for these accounts, the more floor heroes I have, the more use I can have with my moksha runes when they land, because I don't have to use it for my floor heroes, right?
Sure.
Especially there's early level one individuals. So super, super bullish to hear your viewpoint. It correlates with the economic hardening theory that I speak of, and I'm going to start including, DFK Helper and the AI within that economic hardening theory, knowing just how efficient it is and how much of a positive proponent it is to the overall longevity, of this game. So, with that being said, what else is to come? What can we look forward to? In the community, we have void hunts now, and now we're like, give us V2, give us V2, give us
Right.
V2. So DFK Helper, give us the next thing, give us the next thing. What are we looking forward to?
So the AI has never developed from my brain. It's not my ideas. It's generally the community saying, I want this, or there is this problem. So an example of this, when I started out, I wanted to automate as little as possible. I was like, if we automate two things, we've automated the entire game, right? That's not cool. And that's one of the things that I'm sure some in the DFK team didn't like. The fact
Mhm,
that somebody is coming up with a different way to play the game and making it so that people that want to play can't play, right? Because it's
mhm,
it's it's being botted. And so that's why I named it initially DFK Helper. I was like, it's a helper. It's not a bot. As I
mhm,
don't like the term bot. It's not a bot. It's not intended to automate everything. It's just intended to automate those things that help you do whatever it is you want to do. You want to
mhm,
be the best at hunts, then you use these tools, and they allow you to do that more easily. They save you time, etc. Um, the other one is sorry.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think especially when I go in, there are certain things that may still like to do manually, especially let's say, hey, my one paladin, right? I'd like to see what happens with him, but when it comes to duels, right? Duels was something that for the longest I just wasn't able to achieve legendary 3. Right. We've gone through
Super
season
hard.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm like, hey, I've been building these heroes for 2 years. Like I need to, I've been putting in sweat, blood, and tears. I need a way for these guys to work for me, and utilizing the automation just for duels allowed me to get to that legendary 3, and that's even just a start because I use it just to see how it plays out with X amount of heroes. When I got to Legendary 3, the items that I received, I didn't sell them. I use them to level my heroes, right? So it speaks to what Sticks Intern talks about, which is that consumptive utility. But also, too, just because you're automating in a way doesn't mean oh yeah, I'm just going to be here selling and dumping. It's going to be, hey, I need these tools. I need them efficiently in order to run that back into the ecosystem. And it's a beautiful
Can I expand on
cycle.
that, duels?
Yeah, for
So I
sure.
think that that's a perfect example. So there was once upon a time, the AI only did auto questing, right? Which is what bots do. And even then, it required you to strategize how many heroes. You had to set it all up, right? How many you want in a group, and these kinds of things. How many attempts? And the idea was that's now the game. The game is you making those decisions. When some other game component comes out, we move on to another thing, and we can automate something else so that you can focus on the new feature basically, and you can do all the thinking and leave the muscle work to the AI. But duels is a perfect example because this is when the crypto economy started doing really badly, right? Or it was doing really badly in the middle of the winter. The dev team, from my view, I was worried that maybe they're not getting enough funding from the game, from the number of users, from the activity in the game. And so my thinking was, gosh, how can I help the game stay alive? How can I make it not just more than that? How can I make it prosper even in the middle of the crypto winter? And I thought, well, if I can somehow, it's like rescuing any economy, you know? If you have so many people in a country, you can't increase the population, you can't decrease the population, you can't increase production, you're at max capacity kind of thing. How are you going to improve the economy? And so you start thinking, well, if I lower taxes, if I increase the velocity of the money so that things are, happening quicker and more of it, just volume, like you said, of economic activity. That's how we do it. So I thought, okay, well, I could automate duels. But if I automate duels, that just doesn't feel right. Like that's like a new game feature and it's just not right. We're gonna automate everything. Where's the game? And so I went to Frisky and I said, hey, Frisky, I have people that are asking me to help them automate duels. They've done, a couple hundred by hand, but then they're like, that's enough. And, at the time, there was still only a one dual entry you could do at a time, right? It took time to match somebody, sometimes minutes, even an hour. So it was a bit of a pain to do each duel. Anyway, so I asked them, how do you guys feel about me automating duels? And they're like, go for it. And I'm like, well, I mean, you say go for it, but this thing, if first of all, others are going to do it. Other bots are going to do it, even if I don't do it, right? But the issue is then where do we draw the line? How fast can it go? If a human can do one duel every 10 minutes and the AI can do, every 45 seconds, isn't that like an unfair advantage? And so I sat with the community on this, with the influencers, including Samich and other guys. And, I asked the same question. I'm like, what should we do? What's good for the community? And they make me realize that this is what I wanted, which is to say, if we automate duels, then it improves the whole ecosystem because duels are burning an enormous amount of crystal. They're burning a lot of jewel gas, which helps lower its supply, increase its value. A portion of that goes to the Quest Fund, which improves everybody's rewards and provision of liquidity. A portion of it goes to the Dev Fund, which pays the devs. So, yeah, plus the fact that doing this causes people to want to invest more in their heroes and to have a larger portfolio of heroes that are like, crystal and have special stuff, have high value pets, this whole thing. So, yeah, and then we're feeding those pets now, this whole thing. But basically, what happened is at some point, it became my primary mission, became supporting the DFK economy. So basically, how can I help supercharge it as much as possible? The mindset of if I don't do that, it might die or the devs might lose interest because the project, is a bit slow because of the crypto winter. And of course, they've said that they would never stop, and that's awesome. But I was worried because life happens, right? Somebody has a kid that they didn't plan to have. Somebody in the family gets hurt, and suddenly you gotta quit your passion work and go into the fiat mines. And yeah, you know, and yeah, so I was worried about that. And I thought, yeah, how can I help? And plus, everybody that had invested money. So, for example, I lost like 60 grand in the Harmony hack. I lost 60 grand in the Harmony hack. And you know, other people lost more. And I felt, you know, I felt that pain, and I thought, how are we going to keep people in the game after so much pain? How are we going to keep them in? They need to see that there is a light at the end of this tunnel. The crypto winter is just a cycle. It's just a temporary thing, and the hacks, you know, are as well. They come and go, but the risks are worth the reward. And so yeah, that has been my number one goal. And this goal changed a little bit at the beginning of last year, or more like February, March, when the hero count became insanely high because of all the summoning. And again, this happened just because we didn't plan to have so many few players with such a large game, right? In the middle of the crypto winter. You know, that wasn't the plan. And because, you know, the risk was there are not enough heroes for people to go around. You know, we don't want heroes to be $1,000 a piece. Nobody will be able to play the game. So yeah, the birth rate was a little higher than it could have been. As a result, the player population, the hero population went nuts. As a result of that, gas was like 30 Gwei, 33 Gwei. So the moment that happened, that became my mission. And I spent months on the gas cartel. So the gas cartel was the first tech outside of the trading and swapping, and you know, that way to foment the economy, and the burnings, you know, for duels and stuff. Yeah, so that became my mission, and I coordinated with the DFK team because I would observe things, behaviors of the chain, why sometimes price would increase and other times it wouldn't, even though it was saturated with blocks and stuff like that. And yeah, so we developed a way that saved a little bit. But when this happened, when I developed this, Risen, you familiar with Risen? You remember Risen?
Yes,
So
I am.
So Risen had gone onto the DFK chat and he had said, I don't see why people are thanking DFKH for lowering the gas costs because it's automation that's responsible for this problem, right? And he's right. He was right in the sense that if there had been no automation, then heroes, 99% of heroes would probably been idle most of the day. Right? Let's say 95% of heroes idle. People wouldn't be questing 3 times a day on the dot, right? And so as a result, gas would be at a minimum. There would be very little game activity. Stuff wouldn't be bought, sold, you know, very little would be going on, duels, etc. Now, what he wasn't seeing is that before I came into the picture, there was other automation. And that's the automation that caused me to get into the space. It was because those guys weren't respectful of the ecosystem. They weren't respectful of the wishes of the DFK devs. They were willing to automate anything. They were willing to cheat, you know, like the locked mining tricks that they would do. The heroes would quest, cancel, move on to another wall, like all this nonsense. Like, so I needed to find a way to give the tech to DFK, or at least to do it in accordance with, you know, their wishes, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and, no, for sure. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't remember where I'm headed with this. Sorry.
No. I encapsulated all of. I encapsulated all of that in terms of, you know, what's to come. First of all, in those early stages when you had to contemplate, you know, okay, hey, I've approached, you know, the team about doing a few things. I've gotten the goal for duels. The sentiment is still iffy with, you know, automation due to some of the lack of understanding of how this automation can help with efficiency, and also too that stability we speak about that network stability that needs to be sustainable not for 6 months, but for 20
Forever.
years, right?
Forever.
Forever, right?
Because it'll just
So,
evolve.
coming in, a part of your ethos has always been to not only help the community, but to also set up business practices that weren't an attack to the network, but was an aid to the growth and longevity of the network. And if you look at every aspect of what you have developed, it continues to have that ethos, and you continue to check in with the team on those things. And so, if we talk about the future of DFK Helper, is it you know is it the right thought process to think that, hey, you're going to continue to have not only the community in mind, but the network in mind? And if there are future things that are coming, you're always going to tap into the team and say, hey,
Yeah.
well, what do you guys think about this? And then push it forward no matter what that new thing is. Is that the right thought frame to be thinking?
Yeah. So the way it's worked is, you probably heard me say this before, but I never planned to create this as an outside tool. I built the AI for the DFK team to own and control, and that way they would have the narrative on automation, and it would be like, in my opinion, the first game in the world that not only is a blockchain game fully, but also has its own native built-in automation that's accessible to everyone, either for free or with power-ups or whatever. That was the goal. um, but what I didn't expect is that they would be worried about the liability of a tool that can transact on the behalf of others, and disaster that could potentially ensue. Now, in my point of view, the disaster would be a lot worse if we had let those other bots take over the market, and they could do whatever they wanted. Um, Especially because they were like anonymous tools, so then people weren't doxxed, etc.
Hmm.
So those were my concerns, and anyway, they decided that the liability of the thing isn't worth it. But I still consider myself to be part of the DFK team. So officially, I'm not. Sometimes I'm not treated as if I'm anywhere close to, but I feel that I am. So I feel like I'm their janitor. I'm the one that's like sweeping the floors after they all go home at night, because that's really what I do. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that because I'm supporting them uh, in the best way that I can, and the only way that they'll let me currently. But it is my hope that it doesn't work this way. It's my hope that someday everything that I build, or at least the things that are acceptable that I build, that are not high risk, that I can build into the game UI that people can use for free. That's my dream.
Yeah, no, I
Oh, wait, and sorry, one more thing. You had talked
yeah,
about
sure.
the multiple chain situation. So the AI is built to operate on unlimited numbers of chains. So if DFK tomorrow was on 10 other chains, within 2 hours, the AI would be on all those chains as well.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is actually some alpha. That's some alpha that we're
We are
dropping there,
ready.
because what we all are anticipating is what? Another chain, right? We know we're missing some heroes in the hero tree. We know there's another chain coming, and we have this tool that within two
Hopefully,
hours.
Ronan.
I've heard a lot of rodent talks. I've heard a lot of rodent talk, but we have, a tool that within 2 hours can configure, and give us the same use case that we're using. And quite honestly, it's interesting, right? You're a semi-quaso guild, you're a semi-quaso game implementation, you're a semi-quaso in your
Gas
eyes are
cartel
part of a gas cartel,
and
semi-quaso
trade
part of
cartel.
a trade cartel. You also have the analytics of what you're seeing with 1/3 of the DFK
Europa.
ecosystem, and semi-quaso also building and assisting the team as well. So, from my estimation, you are doing a ton, a ton for this ecosystem. I quite honestly can't thank you enough, but because the thing that people don't understand, especially who haven't interacted with you. I mean, we've interacted with some 1/3 of heroes have interacted with the technology, right? The DFK Helper, the AI. But in interacting with you, you get the general sense that you understand that this is a nascent ecosystem and that there are real people in this ecosystem, and you're have the capacity to just listen to the stories of these real people. And in many ways, you're helping these real people not only conceptualize what is in the space, but some way, somehow, you're touching their actual lives, right? I can personally, attest to this. So it shows that, yes, you as a developer are completely different from the mindset that some of these other developers had that were creating some of these other botting systems
We're just in it for
that
the
was
money. Yeah.
shedding, yeah, that were just in it for the money and was
Fame.
shedding a negative light to this space. And so for me, I'm hoping more and more that the team feels and hears this, and the community, now that we've started to have this sentimental and psychological adjustment in the community, where they're seeing DFK Helper as a not a little help, a humongous help. We know that as a community, the team listens to us. They do. And we are here, and our lives have been a million times better with some of these tools that you've developed for us. So, we when I asked about the future of DFK Helper, you've dropped 2 or 3 gems that we have to look forward to. And a part of it is that ethos of helping the community. But we hope to see you more and more within the
Yeah.
aspect of these games. Love seeing you up in the tower, in the castle. I think that took way too damn long. But we're here, and we're here supporting you. And at this point, and where we are in our journey, I think at least that we have your back, and we may need to make it more clear to the team that we see you as an aid and that we have your back as well. So a lot of good things to look forward to when it comes to not only DFK, the ecosystem, the gameplay that's coming about. We saw what happened with the Mythic Squad live tournament, and shout out
Awesome.
to the Mythic Squad for hosting that. I saw
Steve is here.
Stick's intern earlier state that a shout out to the finalists, that he had some things on the playoffs. Very exciting to see the playoffs come about, and very excited to see what we have coming forward. This has been a humongous live that we have here, 222 people watching. At some points, I've seen 400, right? And so yeah, we have the giveaway that we have coming up, but we also have a lot of different information that's important for people to hear. So, if we have to keep putting these giveaways in here, we will, because this is the back end of things that leads to the bullishness, the price action, even when the market is where it's at. And so, thanks for sharing all of that. Do you have any last words just pertaining to what we should be looking forward to DFK Helper? And then we're gonna get some names down for this giveaway here.
I just want to say that so for example, when I posted, okay, so we came up with the Gore staff to give away, right? Was the intent of the Gore staff or of this stream to advertise DFKH? No, it's not the intent to advertise DFKH, because everybody that is somebody in the game is already using it, right? We're at full saturation. There's no one to market to. The only marketing we want to do is for the game, for DFK. We need more players. Not enough people have heard about it, and this is the right time to do it. So I want to say that the DFKH, it doesn't matter. I'm just a helper. Let's not give it a name. I'm just a helper. Anybody on my team is just a helper. People come to us with questions about DFK, right? Not just about the AI or whatever. just anything DFK related, we're here to help. If somebody in the community needs a tool or needs something to be changed, or even a free tool to help them do something in the game, they just ask us. We add it to our list. We do it. So I would say that all of us are here just for DFK, right? For the community, for the devs. What other project can you talk to the founder? Frisky. Like anytime I can write up a DM to Frisky and he's gonna respond right away. And that's like being able to talk to like Bill Gates, at the beginning of the thing, or Steve Jobs, or yeah, it's awesome. I mean, people have no idea, but what Frisky has
Yeah,
founded and what Dreamer is supporting and the rest of the team has stayed behind is just revolutionary in so many
yeah,
ways. In a couple of
that's
years,
awesome.
people are not going to believe that somebody spent, gosh, I don't know, 1,600 hours playing a game and then they couldn't even sell anything they obtained and could never use it again. That level 50 hero, we'll never use it again. The equipment that he
Yeah,
got, worthless outside of that game. And yeah, that's a thing of the past, man. DFK has changed everything. For
yeah.
those that
No,
don't
that's
see it
awesome, man.
yet, they will soon.
They will. If you don't see it or feel it yet, because maybe they've seen it in bubbles, but they're not feeling
Yeah.
it yet. And the
It'll
team
punch him in the face.
is the team is so touchable at reach, and even with what Dreamer is doing with karate combat
Oof,
and willing to go and get punched,
George.
right? And I've heard Dreamer say even us being able to have the DeFi Kingdoms logo there on the fighting mat,
On the ground.
he didn't even actually try to fight for that. He was just like, all right, cool guys, I'm gonna go fight. And that commitment to be reachable, being able to be touched, literally punched, they were like, huh, okay, throw DeFi Kingdoms on there, right?
What
And so
CEO of a project that had over $1 billion TVL, over $1 billion, goes and gets punched in the face?
goes, you
None,
know,
zero. There's not one in the world. Dreamer's
zero.
the only one.
So
Yeah.
it's just some amazing things happening here. The community here is just astounding, right? And really, what happens in bull and bear markets is you weed out the toxic, negative crew. And I don't care if every cycle we weed out 90% of the holders that are just toxic, because then you bring the genuine community in, those who are here to build, breathe friendly, have a good time. And that's where you have networks that live out the test of time, right? I'm a big XRP person. I mean, price hasn't done crap. We still are growing. We just went from 2 million to 3 million to 4 million wallets because we just understand where the technology is going. And those are the ecosystems that I enjoy being a part of. And Frisky is amazing with what he's doing. He stood the test of time. He has some stressful moments, but the team is now stronger than ever. The community is now stronger than ever. It's absolutely bullish to see. Those are some great closing words that you have for us here. So we're gonna attempt to do this giveaway. Let's see how many names we actually get in here, because we're having a lot of traffic right now. Let's say on the trade network, right? We're not a blockchain, but we are a network within the YouTube network. So, I'm gonna play this video here, give a little bit of a pizzazz and anticipation. If you are here in the chat room, go ahead and enter DFK AI here in order to qualify for this giveaway. I've gone ahead and put a comment here in the chat. All you're doing is writing DFK AI here to qualify. I'm going to get the names on this spin wheel here. I'm going to try to catch
I do it too.
everyone. And I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this little, promo here while we do that. let's run that back. Let's run that back.
Sharing a different screen, maybe?
Oh, am I not sharing the screen? Hold
Right.
on, let me see.
Just the giveaway screen.
Yeah, I was sharing. Oh, the giveaway screen. Gotcha. Let me let's see here.
Man, every
Are
time
you
I see that
referring
spell
to
damage.
the Twitter post?
No.
That spell damage. Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what hurt me a little bit?
Sorry,
Right
you're saying?
before our stream, I posted the link. You hear me? In the DFK
Yeah.
general, and right away Panga Panga is like, he comes out like the police and he's like, chill station. And I can't explain how hurtful that is, because I didn't come here to advertise DFKH. You're not doing this to advertise yourself. We're not giving away a gore staff for the purpose of advertising anything other than DFK itself. We're trying to get new people in. We're trying to get current people more active.
Mhm.
Is shilling DFK shilling? No, this means being part of the community, right? So anyway,
Yep. No, I mean I definitely hear you in that, right? I think when we especially when we talk about cycles after cycles, the DFK Discord, that general Discord, especially in that last bull market, that was a dangerous Discord to hang out in just because of the overall flood of comments. And so this is my thought frame when it comes to any ecosystem that I partake in, right? Is you're gonna have probably half of them are gonna be sensible, right? And this is not like any sort of shade at any, just humans in general. You walk into any room, you'll have half be just sensible, and the other half just kind of be somewhat of complete idiots, right? And so you throw gaming into that, you throw crypto into that, you throw all that into that, you're going to come across some proponents of individuals that sometimes don't think before they speak or don't think before they write. And that's why I enjoy some of these lives, these long drawn out conversations, because it's not a quick tweet, it's not a quick message on Discord. You get a chance to really see the sensibility of someone, a little bit of the intellect, of someone, and then it's like, okay, well, all right, now we can have a conversation, especially if you have a counter thought or counter argument to, something that I may have to say. And then, hey, I like being, corrected and told I'm wrong. I like hearing different perspective. My wife will say, oh, yeah, sometimes you play the devil's advocate. It's because I'm trying to pull something from you to then check myself on the thought process that I'm running through, right? And so that's
discussion.
kind of how I treat Discord.
It's very Socrates.
Yeah. Well, I've looked at that video that went viral about, hey, how often do men think about the Roman Empire? I think if you've gone through any schooling, there's so many stories
Right.
from there that there's just so much to be learned from that ecosystem. But that's a good way for you to put it. Right now, I'm logging everyone in that has commented here. I'm using the wheel of names for the first time. I think it's a really cool tool. It's really simple enough. But doing it live is also pretty interesting, right? Because you're like, oh man, I want to make sure that I spell people's names in here correctly. But yeah, who do you think right now in the chat? Who do you think has a good chance of winning this? I honestly think we have two people that are still in. I think two or three that are still in the Mythic Squad tourney. pretty much in overtime. So maybe Dax, maybe Sticks in turn, maybe they can throw it onto one of their other priests. Who's in contention here in the chats? This is going to be a hot and heavy one.
The drop rate for a piece of gore equipment. Anyone remember
the drop rate?
Yeah, 0.00.
I think it's 0.002 because I actually landed a gore staff after 180 hunts. And I'm seeing some people here that had 500 hunts and they still haven't landed a gore staff.
Sure.
I've seen some people like Affinity. I think he had like 20 and he landed one. So it's just interesting seeing things drop in the drop rates, but I think it's 0.002. If somebody in the chat wants to,
so the chances in this giveaway is probably like what, 1,000 times higher. Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, right? You know what? As close to guaranteed as you can get. As close.
Because not that many people opted for the giveaway because they want to let others that need it more have it. It's nice.
Yes. A
couple of folks said that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now, so far, I have shoes my girlfriend wears. I have Eric. I have Stamina Juice. I have Emerging. I have Red's Room. I have Worm. I have Be Easy. I have AA Free. So we're getting a lot of names coming in here. I have another question for you, Zealous, while I get these names in here. One of my favorite heroes is the Paladin, right? The Paladin was one of my favorite heroes just because it's a tanker, it's an advanced class.
It can heal.
It has the shield, it can heal. I found out maybe 6 months ago, Wisdom on a Paladin is pretty good because especially if you're going on stuff like explorations where you just need to continuously to be able to survive for a long period of time while exploring an ecosystem, a Paladin is one great one to use. So Paladin is one of my favorites. I went through this whole saga where I was trying to build out a Paladin and I ended up getting a Dread Knight through that process, right?
No way.
Yeah, I got a Dread Knight through that process. So I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite hero, favorite class, while I lock these names down?
So I like heroes that just seem crazy profession overpowered. Like, for example, a ninja that does fishing. Fishing ninja. If you look at the stat growth on that thing, that when it hits level 20, 30, 40, 50, I mean, it's going to be insane. The amount of stat power. It's probably going to be greater than the skill effect. If leveling is allowed more than skill quest. But yeah, I love those. I try to stay away from Dread Knights because they're so rare and so much in demand, and because everybody's like, oh, that's the best, period. What I'm trying to prove, I have an army of rares. All types. I love pures. So like warrior, thief. Love that, especially if they're advanced class. So paladin. Oh, and I just want to show that non-advanced classes and not the rarest heroes, but rares can be the best heroes in the game. So that's my legion. My legion is rares, all of it. And I'm basically playing the slot machine in the sense that, every hero gets to level. That level could be really lucky. And so you never know. The more heroes you got, the higher your chances. Right?
The higher chances, yeah. No, that's interesting. So you're leaning more towards not going for, hey, this is the best Dread Knight kind of a thing, and you're trying to get quality over individual quantity.
But not as much as like Mythic Squad, where they're going into the crazy, most advanced skills, transcendentals, that kind of thing. For me, there's time. There's plenty of time to catch up on those things, and they'll be cheaper and easier to get when they're more common. You know, there's going to be much more advanced skill heroes to play with in the future, and dread knights and whatnot. So you know, it will be easier, less costly. So what I like to do is what I like to do in normal life, which is I look at the best TVs on the market, and then I go down about 50%. Right. So I'm like, you know, I don't want to pay a luxury price, but I want the best that money can buy. That's not a luxury price. So I'll give you an example. I wanted a really good monitor for coding, and I got this monster that's like 48 inches. It is super wide. It wraps around me, one monitor. And monitors like this, they're typically like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. But this one was like $450. So that goes to show you. But if I wanted like 1 inch bigger, now it's $2,000, $3,000.
You would have.
So that goes to show you that, you know, you find what's a good deal, what's a good value. And right now the Dread Knight is not a good value. It's the best of the best. Good value, like rares are selling for like 50 crystal right now. That's nuts. A rare is skipping a throw to a mythic, right? The chances of lucky level ups is super high. So that's it, man. Kill the commons and uncommons, DS those guys, keep the rares, and sell the mythics and legendaries to the crazies.
Yeah.
You know, ahead of their time, let's say.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's interesting. I do feel like the rares are kind of slept on, because once you hit the uncommon, you're right there in terms of being able to scale to those 100 levels. And I honestly, I've even seen some of the uncommons that are at least, some of the commons that are at least stoned kind of ramp up right to that uncommon / rare leveling. And so there's a few ways
higher, basically.
Right.
And that's without crystals.
That's without crystals. And so there are a few ways where you can find value and build out your own value, right? Especially since at the end of the day, you can have a mythic Dread Knight, but if you level him the wrong ways, he's not going to be ish down the line, right? So that's an interesting perspective. I've had kind of similar sentiments in terms of, hey, you don't have to go for it all, right? You can have your rares, and even for the mythic end of things, you can go get some basic mythics, and kind of build it out that way. So you're probably going to send me back to the tavern, looking at some of these rare floors and trying to pick up.
Your hero count definitely needs some padding. Yeah. You need like 70 gardeners. Go for it, man.
Oh my gosh.
You're missing 2 miners.
Oh boy. Yeah, I have some.
You have none on Serendale. You need to be mining on Serendale, man.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Soon they're gonna have ore mining, and other things are gonna be mineable as well. You know, probably sulfur and who knows. So you're gonna need many teams of miners.
I'm always open to some constructive criticism. That's how I've been able to watch the gamers and listen to the gamers and learn from the gamers as well. So no, thank you for that insight there when it comes to how you're looking at the market, the value you're building through the market. I went through that Dread Knight phase and got a Dread Knight. I got my Paladin, and I don't have the FOMO anymore, and it caused me to look at the rest of my ecosystem and what I have.
You have to do it a little bit. You got to get a taste. You got to satisfy that desire. You can't go to the grocery store hungry. You need a saltine cracker, and then you make better choices.
Yeah, then you make better choices. That is damn right. And so it is time. So it is time, all right? And the screen that I'm going to share here is the Wheel of Names. All right, I have a few names here. All right, remember, you are going to type DFKAI in order to qualify, and we will be confirming the Discord to make sure that you are an active user on the DFK, um, Discord. And looking at the chat really quickly before, we go ahead and spin these names. Also, make sure you let me know if your name is not up here. All right, we're gonna give it right now. It's 8:24 p.m. Eastern time, which means it's 5:24 PST time. And so we're gonna give it about 10 minutes. All right, let me know if your name is here. Let me know if it is not. We're gonna look at the comment section as well. Really and truly want to thank Zealous for coming out and hanging out with us tonight on this Saturday, this macro Saturday. We've been having an awesome macro conversation, and quite honestly, just what makes me even more bullish is not even the AI and all the amazing things that are going on, but it is the man himself behind the development of this aid that we have. And I'm bullish on him too as well, right? So thanks for coming through. Let's see what we have going on in the comments. We
So
have
my
people entering
priests
here.
don't have any staffs, and I'm having second thoughts. Maybe I should add my name to the wheel.
No, I would
kidding,
have to
just kidding.
disqualify you from the wheel, of course.
No.
Let's see the chats here. Help artificial intelligence DFK. Yeah, for sure. I really want to continue focusing more on AI. And I think the AI narrative is going to be aligned with DFK. I don't care if it's 6 months from now. I don't care if it's 8 months from now. I don't care. We truly have an AI technology within our space, and seeing the trajectory of NVIDIA when it comes to the equities market, seeing the trajectory of some of these AI tokens in the crypto space. Hey, guys, don't forget it. DeFi Kingdoms also has AI in here as well, so that continues to make me super bullish. Sticks entering the building. Haya, what Haya DFK just sounds so memorable. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know if I am. We have the beef dreads fare well in duels and can hang without codex and hunts. Just saying. Yeah, I agree with that. And I know, the beef is giving
1,000
that
health or
DFK
something.
sprinkle. Massive health. Massive
Insane.
help. But yeah, you responded. Dreads in a tournament were like Godzilla. Yeah, I believe the other
Godzilla
Winston
meets Pikachu.
meets Pikachu. I believe the other Winston used a dread in the sixth round as well. Mythic vibes everywhere. Yeah. We see mythic squads in the wheel here. So yeah, guys, I believe I have everyone because no one in the comments has told me that they don't see their names. I'm gonna run through the names one more time. Okay. And again, in order to qualify, just let me know. Put DFK AI. We have shoes. My girlfriend wears. Eric. Stamina juice. Emerge. Red's room. Worm. Be easy. AA free. Uh, Renina Costas. Wow, what a name. D-Wire, okay, Scoopy, the Beef DFK, J Dub, Chris Smith, Wagme, Jeremy, Mega, and Sir Jeweler Staker. So these are the contestants. Somebody's priest is about to be boosted up to another level. Don't forget, we're doing one other spin. Okay, a lucky contestant is also going to win a gold egg. And really, before we spin this wheel, what are your thoughts on the gold egg? Honestly, in the last DFK, we saw that they said, hey, we're still focusing on gameplay. Yellow eggs is not something that we're really paying attention to right now. I'm a huge yellow egg fan. And even when we talked to Winston Jazz Hands, he said there's a little special treat that's going to be included in the yellow eggs that won't be included in the other eggs. But what are your thoughts on the yellow and gold egg that we're giving away today as well, and how it's going to play into the ecosystem?
So the yellow eggs are gonna go nuts, right? Because we've been waiting for them forever. And because you can only have 18 gold miners, you don't need to worry about, oh, I'm gonna need hundreds of these yellow pets. No, you need 18, maybe 36 really, really good yellow pets. So I expect
Mhm.
all the tiers and everything are gonna go in there. They're gonna burn every yellow egg in existence in like 3 days. Heroes are gonna We're gonna run out of eggs. Heroes are gonna be, pets are gonna be basically DS at the hatchery for more eggs, and it'll be like one blue with one yellow in the hopes of getting another
Mhm.
yellow, right? That kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And as far as golden eggs, those are like the Dread Knights, man. Those are like the level
Mm.
100 Dread Knights. Like, if you want the best pet in the game, I'm sure it's gonna have to be a golden pet. Certain.
Mm.
And right now
Yeah.
you can get it at a
Yeah.
steal, I
I mean,
think.
I've heard.
And gold pets are special
Mhm.
in that,
Yeah. Right now you
the
can get.
eggs themselves are so limited,
Yeah.
and the only way you can get that egg is by paying a fortune in gold. So if somebody now, wants a specific golden egg, they're gonna have to
Mhm.
DS the golden pets that they have in order to get another attempt at the egg. And when they run out, they gotta buy that egg by,
Ooh.
doubling its cost in gold. And they're not gonna be the only ones. Steve is not gonna be the
Ooh.
only one over there doing this.
Okay.
So yeah, the golden pets are gonna be worth a fortune.
Ooh. What? So much alpha being dropped in this stream right here. I love it. And honestly, some of these uh, uh, let's say theories that we have, man, they're not coming out of nowhere. You see enough data, you see this thing comes in, you see where we're
Oh, yeah.
going, and then we have these inferences. And even for a while ago, something like someone like Crypto Grady was like, especially when green egg pet eggs were getting ready to be launched, he was like, oh, this is great, this is bullish. But it was a sentiment of almost immediately. And with the economic hardening theory, it never happens immediately.
That's
Supply
right.
and demand, and then stability of price action
Elastic.
has to flow in a way. But we've seen gold eggs go from 6 cents, and now it gone as high as 56 cents, and now it's maintaining a floor of around 20 to 27 cents. And on any given day, it just jumps 30%. It is the strongest price action egg that I'm seeing right now. And because not only the questing mechanism where you have to quest for 4 hours, and then gardening is so a lot of things go into it, but that prolonged growth is better than that instantaneous growth. And we're seeing gold pet eggs do it, and I
Healthy.
think we're gonna see yellow pet eggs do it, especially over the same time period, which for green eggs has been 9 months since that got launched. And so yeah, this has been awesome, right? Well, I shifted away to this graphic here just so I can spin the wheel a few times and kind of refresh it, get the juices flowing, get the randomization kind of set here as well. We're going to be going ahead and picking a winner very soon, but I'm doing 3 runs of this beforehand. I
And
have
you're gonna show it
one.
when you do it, right? Because no one's gonna trust you
Show show
otherwise.
show the pre-spins.
The wheel. We don't see the wheel right now.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing 3 test spins
Because
before I show the actual real
if
spin.
you run it off screen and you're like, the winner is, everybody else is gonna lynch you. Like, no way. It's his buddy.
No. That's true. That's true. I'm on the last test spin because in the space that I am now, you have to test, right? So every single thing I do at work, I test at least twice if I've done it before. If I've never done it before, I test 3 times, and so it's just become habitual. And yeah, I didn't want to share it and then show 3 test winners before and then show the real winner. So without further ado, all right, without further ado, we are going to do the final spin. We're gonna do 2 spins. One person is going to win the gore staff. The other is going to win the gold pet egg. After this, we have about 50 minutes until the Jewelers podcast. Shout out to the Jewelers Guild, which I am a part of. And after this, we're going to spend about 45 minutes, checking the charts, doing some of what we normally do. But really big thanks to Zealous for coming in and hanging out with us. It's been at least 2 hours now, so
Thank you,
I'm not gonna try
guys.
not to take up too much more of your time. But without further ado, 3, 2, 1, here goes the wheel for the winner
Woo.
of the Gore staff for this live. And wow, it is emerging. It is emerging. Congratulations. It
Congrats.
almost landed on
Hmm.
Red's room. And honestly, Red's room, and
Oh,
he is here quite often. And so I know you almost had that one. But congratulations to Emerging. Emerging, I'm going to need you to contact me either on Twitter or on Discord. I will look to locate you by other means as well. You can also come hang out in the Jewelers Discord as well if you have access to that. But congratulations to you, Emergent. We have the entire chat congratulating Emergent at the current moment while he has no words. Just wow. But we have him here saying, I'll need that for the Mythic Tourney final. Wait a minute. Are you in a final? Is Emerging in the finals? No way. That is super interesting. And it's
gonna need
interesting
it.
because I did say that somebody might win it for the tourney. That's amazing. Okay, so we're gonna do our second spin here for the gold pet egg. We're gonna see who's gonna win that. Dun, da-da-da. Ooh, ooh, wow.
Oh,
Oh,
whoa.
the DFK snuck that one
Sorry,
in.
Scoopy.
Sorry,
Like
Scoopy.
100th of a
Oh man,
millimeter.
listen, literally. All right, so the beef, I have access to you. I'm gonna contact you. We're gonna get that going. And uh, emerging. Congratulations, guys! Thanks for showing up today. This was awesome. We really dove into the technology behind DeFi kingdoms, the technology behind the space, AI and GameFi. I feel like Zealous, there was so much more that we could have spoken about, but really truly thank you for coming on. Would love to have you on in the future as things continue to develop and as we move through this current market cycle, hopefully to a bull market. But any last words before you leave us tonight on this macro Saturday?
I wanted to thank you for all the content you've done and that you're gonna do. You're a refreshing voice in the space. I love seeing you, especially on the panels with Sergeant Filthy. You have so much to opine on. It's really cool. I learn a lot. And as far as everybody in the community, thank you because you are the reason that I get out of bed every morning.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That
Back.
is beautiful,
Love you
beautiful
guys.
to hear. And you're a big help to all of us as well. So we also want to send that thanks and congratulations to you. And we will see you a lot more in the different community and spaces that we have. But enjoy your night. Kick back. I hope you get a chance to kick back and relax a bit. And we're gonna wrap up the stream. But thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Night, everybody.
Awesome. We'll see you soon. All right, so big thanks to Zealous for coming and hang out tonight. That was really awesome for us to get that done. First time using the wheel, and that was great, right? I'm gonna go ahead and ahead and pull up the DeFi Kingdoms app as well. Checking into the comments here. Listen, the jewelers don't come on till 9:30 p.m. Eastern, so we're chilling tonight. You know, we're gonna dive into our charts like we normally do, and then we're just gonna close out that conversation, that we were having with Zealous and with DSK Helper. Let me tap into the current chat that we have here. We have some winners, we have some losers. That is what this GameFi space is about. Okay. Very, very close one. I really almost thought you had that one in the bag. Beeve, yep, Beeve on that one. Beeve on that one. He said you stole that one from Scoopy. No, you definitely did. Some more congratulations that we have in the chat here. Just want to run through some of the chats before we get started. Oh, we have so much Filthy Nick Nasty entering in. Shout out Sarge. You just missed the giveaway, the Gore Staff giveaway. But we know you're a whale. We know you're a whale out here with your Gen Zero. So, maybe you didn't need it, right? Looking at the rest of the chat, too many names are emerging. Yeah, that's funny. I Beam is gonna be helping me out with some summoning stuff. That's gonna happen on the back end of things. I don't know if he could make it tonight. I don't think he could make it tonight because I think he would have hit me, or even he'll mention it to me here if he can make it. But if he's not making it to put me on to how he summons, we're gonna have that as additional content for you guys later down the line. I think the Mythic Squad is doing some amazing, things. Shout out to Beeve and everybody else in the Mythic Squad. Skiller, who is a great support, always shows up for anyone doing content in the community. Shout out to Mega as well and the Jewelers Guild. Shout out to all the guilds continuing to put in time and hours and sweat into the community. As we continue to develop as a community, those who show up as newcomers, man, will they have all the possible help in the world. B, no, don't B. We're gonna put this together. Trust me. I don't even wanna rush it. I don't even want to rush it right now. We're gonna put this together. We're gonna have a grand time. So don't rush it at all. I know the jewelers, we're coming on soon. Bring up the rest of the chat. Chat is going crazy. I may not even be able to get to the charts, right? Psych. We're definitely gonna get to the charts. We gotta talk what's going on in the charts. But yeah, Beef, don't even worry about it, Beef. We are going to get it in. So Emergent says, what is your Discord name? It's not on the healers guild yet. Yeah, it's the trade room. It's the trade room. It's just how my name is spelled out there. And the rest of the chat, guys, you guys can help him there. Yeah, we're gonna definitely get that in. Mega says, Zion, type in general DFK chat. I'll link you with him. Thank you for that, Mega. We're gonna make sure that we get that Gore staff to our winner there, and congratulations again. So guys, we're gonna use the rest of this time to just do a market check. For the last few weeks, we've been covering a lot of crypto history, right? We've been covering crypto litigation, and before we even dive into the charts and everything, I'm going to use this moment to let you guys know that I'm going to be having Sticks intern on this month. Okay. We're focusing on a few things that we have going on there. And one of those things are the fundamentals of crypto litigation for dummies. We saw the lead up to the Bitcoin ETF, where Grayscale won its court case. That was really interesting, really cool. We saw the Ripple XRP case, where XRP was deemed not a security, and that was a case that's lasted 3 years. And we're getting to the Coinbase case, which is preparing for possible discovery, as Coinbase has, asked the judge to possibly even dismiss the case. And by the time that we have Sticks intern on, I believe we're gonna have another important decision that's been made within that case, and so that's gonna come in February. We're looking to have other guests from the team. Some people have been busy. Some people are getting ready to fight and get punched in the face, right? But we're gonna have other guests down the line as well, because we want to tap into the important spaces that we need to before before as we get to where we're going, right? And one of those macro spaces that we tap into is the charts. And because we've been covering a lot of these other things, litigation, history, we haven't been able to get into the chart. So we're gonna wrap up this stream here by tapping into the charts right before we get into the Jewelers podcast, that comes on. We're going to tap into the charts, right? And we haven't gotten a chance to look macro at Bitcoin. So, what do we always do? We start with Bitcoin, we level our way down into everything else. Bitcoin is the end all be all, at least for the early first, 10 to 15 years of the crypto space. And so we're looking at Bitcoin to eventually do what? To eventually check what the health of not only Jewel, but the DeFi Kingdom's ecosystem at general. All right. If we're able to utilize this time, I will leave an opportunity for suggestions from chat, right? You have my picks of what I'm looking at, and my picks aren't really picks saying, hey, these are the things that are going to do well. My picks tend to be picks that can tell us what the health of the overall crypto space is looking like. But I always leave room for the chat to let me know things that they may want me to look at. So, without further ado, we're going to look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin tells us everything. When we're looking in a macro sense, we're following this 200-week moving average here for Bitcoin on the monthly chart and all the other time frames. It's important for us to look at that. And we use the Bollinger Band tool in order to see where the upper regions, where the lower regions, where are the middle regions when we're looking at Bitcoin, because it tells us what's going on in the overall space, leading from the top to the bottom in DeFi kingdoms. So we spoke about some macro patterns that we look at. And I'm actually, hopefully this doesn't slow my bandwidth down. I'm going to shift my StreamYard to the right, and I'm going to shift the chart to the left so I can be semi looking more at the camera. Actually, regardless of that, hopefully my little thumbnail doesn't get in the middle of everything. So looking at Bitcoin to tell us the overall health of the rest of the cryptocurrency market, we have this macro patterns that we've been following. One of them, if you've been here before, when Bitcoin breaks out in an all-time high, it goes through a correction, all right, and it has to fight through that corrective area to determine what? Yes, we're in a bull market, right? Now, when it does break through its previous all-time high, you probably have about, I don't know, 8 to 12 months where you're going to find the top of the market. All in all, when it does break out, we have tremendous parabolic movement. But then what? It has to correct down. When it corrects down, it does not correct down below its previous all-time high. Okay, we've been talking about this now for almost 2 years or 3 years actually, between before I was doing these lives and during these lives. Okay, this pattern is just something that we follow. Breakout, correction, back to all-time high, breakout, come back, don't go below that previous all-time high. All right, correct, test all-time high, breakout, come back. And this was the most scariest back test of all-time high. This was an absolutely treacherous, tremendously volatile area where this rule was in jeopardy of being broken. But when you follow patterns, you look for your markers. And at 15,000 area, Bitcoin showed great support with a massive candle that engulfed the previous low candle here. And so back in 2022, okay, if you were following the charts, you were not necessarily bearish. You were looking for support, okay, of that previous all-time high, which happened in 2017, which had the breakout. So what are we looking at now? Well, if you're following those same rules, what could we possibly be expecting? Well, we need to go back and test the previous all-time high, right? Because you had your correction. This was a previous all-time high here in 2019. Okay, we did the back test. Now we need to go test the most recent all-time high, which is 2021. All right, we have correction. Okay, from the correction, we had this little gear up back to try to test the all-time high. Over here, this wick has it at 69,000. Once you test the all-time high, you're going to have some sort of corrective area. I don't know how long it lasts for. And that corrective area can even create some of these lows here back down to 54. But then you have a parabolic breakout. All right. You have a parabolic breakout. And so the current stage that we're in right now, what is the question in the current stage that we're in? Are we in the phase where, similar to 2019, we had a test of that all-time high and we had to go into another mini bear market? This is COVID-19. Is that where we are? All right. And if that's where we are, it'll come as a massive surprise to the markets. It'll come as a massive surprise to the markets. But overall, when you look at a macro picture, even if that's what happens, are we still bullish? Yes, we are still, in my opinion, extremely bullish. Why are we extremely bullish? I think we're extremely bullish because this 200-week moving average on the monthly, okay, has come and now created a different angle. You don't need to be a chart analyst to see this change of trajectory from the 200-week moving average on the monthly chart. Okay, you don't need to be a chart analyst. Simply, can you read color and can you read angle? And the case is that we finally got that turnaround. So why, when we had this deviation and correction here, were we still bullish? We were still bullish because we had an opportunity to still have the 200-week moving average bounce off of this $25,000 area. All right. Now, even though we're macro bullish, we could even have a situation, because we've ran up, where we are at the top of this Bollinger. We've spoken now for about 5 to 6 weeks that yes, we projected a 157-day run for Bitcoin to create some bullish action at the top of this yellow zone. This yellow zone being the F around and find out area. Why is this an F around and find out area? Well, in the previous historical run, okay, where Bitcoin made an all-time high in 2021, this was a very convoluted area. Okay, and so when you're making this bullish run back up, when you get to the top of this convoluted area, you best believe if you F around and are just buying into that zone, you're gonna find out. And so in the macro sense, yes, we're bullish. Yes, we have a cooling off that needs to happen. Yes, this cooling off can be as simple as running into this F around and find out zone and just kind of floating here until it finds a way out. And if it finds a way out, that's a more bullish indicator. If it finds a way out and finds a way to even come back at 46K, test this way out on the macro sense, that is bullish. But these are monthly candles, and this needs time to play out. As from the lows, Bitcoin ran as high as a 220% run. Okay, so if we're talking macro, we have a bullish sentiment ahead of us. Uh, we expect Bitcoin, however long it takes, to come back and test this all-time high area, and that's when we can start talking more higher prices for Bitcoin. Before then, I don't want to really talk too much about higher prices for Bitcoin, but we do have this 69,000 area, we have this 92,000 area, and we have this $216,000 area. All in all, from where we started looking at the bigger macro picture, that's only a 445% run for Bitcoin from the $39,000 area where we decided that, hey, let's start tracking the bigger picture for Bitcoin. Because before then, I didn't really want to look at it because sometimes it's insurmountable what can happen in crypto, right? The previous bull run, we went to a $3 trillion market cap. We tend to 3x market caps in bull runs. And so Bitcoin could easily 3x from that $69,000 area that we have, but we are testing certain areas. And so we've been looking at some sluggish correctional type areas. We were saying that because of the weekly candle here for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently doing that consolidation, slugging around this weekly calendar, weekly chart here. This mid Bollinger on the weekly, which represents a 200-week moving average on the weekly chart. We said we want to see this mid Bollinger make its way into this F around and find out zone and find a way to show us some support from that weekly mid Bollinger as the stochastic is momentum wise trending down, and the stochastic needs to find a way to curve its way here. And really and truly, this could take another 2 to 4 to 6 weeks to play out. So we're bullish, but we're in an F around and find out zone. We're still in this corrective period here. And so what you're going to see is Bitcoin dominance, and you're going to see periods and times where when Bitcoin needs to go through its healthy corrective periods, you see the altcoins correct a little bit more. So, we have Kaio Shai Chen saying 260K. That's effing bullish. I mean, we're going to start talking about the macro picture for future prices of Bitcoin, not only in our future streams, but as we see this monthly chart play out, right? And so yeah, we've looked at macro. When we look at micro, Bitcoin just needs to work its way here through this consolidation area. And for me, really and truly, as long as it continues to stay in this yellow zone, in this F around and find out zone, I'm chilling. I ain't got a problem. If you're gonna give me more time to try to not be poor and accumulate some of these things that I need to accumulate while looking for generational wealth, long term, right? Healthy long term generational wealth. Yeah, you'll have cycles where things will pop, but okay, I'm not really about this short term stuff. This is a macro channel. We're looking at macro patterns, macro behaviors, and macro life structures that are going to allow us to escape from the fiat machine, right? So looking at the F around and find out zone in a smaller time frame, we do have the mid Bollinger here trying to find support on 41. You can't really, when you get closer time frames, you can't really be as accurate. But hey, what is the trade room possibly seeing happening? I'm seeing a possible retest. Okay. Depending on what happens in the stock market and the equities market, I'm seeing probably a little deviation back to test this 41. We could come back to test this 40 region, but honestly, I'm looking for an exit, a retest of this $46,000 area, bring bullish momentum back into the markets. Even if you want to slide around, come back again and retest this 41. I'm looking to find some sort of support at this $46,000 region so we can exit out of here. Now, even with this little chicken scratch that I have drawn here, it brings us to May of 2024. Really interesting, right? If we're consolidating and we need to find a way to exit out of this F around and find out zone, it brings us a month after the Bitcoin halvening. The Bitcoin halvening is happening in April, and it doesn't mean bullishness as soon as the Bitcoin halving happens, because you're going to have a lot of anticipation that goes into it. It may take the latter part of 2024, for us to then see the finishing touches, right? 2024 going into 2025, for us to see the finishing touches and the push into higher price regions. But all in all, even this little dip here, right? This little dip here will affect the altcoins, especially if the stock market and the equities market goes through a correction. But on a smaller time frame, this is what we could be looking at, and that's going to allow this weekly chart here, right? It's going to allow this weekly chart here to kind of play out, work its way through. But all in all, when you talk about the macro picture, what is needed for us to continue to follow these metrics here for parabolic price action? Thank you. For parabolic price action, this is what we're looking at, a bullish 200-week moving average. Now we're going to shift right over to Joule, right? Normally, what would we look at? We would look at possibly Ethereum as an indicator of all season, right? As we've spoken about before, we would look at XRP. We would look at even AVAX, right? And I don't want to skip over AVAX. We'll look at AVAX really quickly before we dive into everything else as well. That's the analysis of Bitcoin. That's what we're looking at. I hope some of that made sense to anybody. Looking into what time we have about a half hour till the jewelers come on. And guys, if you're still here, thank you for being here. Make sure to put a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. This is the stuff that I like to dig in on this channel. And guys, leave a comment and let me know if you enjoy looking at the back end of things, right? A lot of people in the community are doing the gaming stuff. We're doing the back end of things just to be able to cover all grounds in between the trade room, the jewelers, the Mythic Squad, and all the other streamers out there. We're trying to give you the best of all worlds, right? So looking at AVAX, it wasn't fun tracking AVAX through this downwards period where we had this downwards price action, but this is called a descending triangle, okay? And we have a breakout of that descending triangle in the macro aspects. We're at the top of this Bollinger here, but again, similar to Bitcoin, we have this 200-week moving average on the monthly starting to curve after a long period of downtrend. And so this monthly is curving in a nature. We have bullish price action here of AVAX. We have, since we started tracking AVAX, down at $8, okay? We started tracking AVAX down at $8, and we said we had a projected move of, let me line this up better, a projected move of a 2,526% run for AVAX, which would bring it to $216. Its previous all-time high was $145. And we're expecting a run to make a test of this area. Okay, to make a test of this area from the current prices, that's about another 288%. Okay, and then to make it to the projected $216 that we started tracking at $8, that is about another 518% run here for a AVAX. When we dig into the granular aspect of things, similar to Bitcoin, what did we say? We said that AVAX made a humongous run, okay, and this run from $8 was about a 500% run. It's going through its corrective period in its own F around and find out zone. A lot of sluggish convolution. Why did it get rejected here at that $50 range? Look at its previous history, okay? And so this weekly chart here, each candle is a week, okay? We had multiple weeks of absolute bullish price action. We spoke before on the previous streams that this this $21 area was the bull market confirmation area. We spent 4 weeks in this area. We pushed and broke out of this area. And with this corrective period that we went in, we could very well come back and do what? And test this bull market support area at $21. We already did 1, 2, 3, 4 tests here on the weekly calendar. But AVAX is so strong. AVAX is so strong that we may not see a test of this bull market support area. We currently had this corrective period and we had a bounce off of $27. During corrective periods, you could expect to have a 50 to 60% correction. In the crypto market, it could even go as low as a 66 to 70% correction. When we line this up here, AVAX had a 45% correction here at the low from the top, and at the current moment is a 27% correction. That is an indicator of a very, very strong chart. Very, very strong mover. And so we're just waiting to see AVAX make its way through here. If we look at the 4-hour chart, a little more granular look, this is that bull market support area. We never came back to test it. We're bouncing off of this fib area that we have here. And we have another descending triangle here, which honestly, we're currently having a breakout of this descending triangle here. So that's something to look at AVAX, but similar to Bitcoin, we still have a little bit of sluggishness to go through. And so this may last what? This may last still for about another 4 to 6 weeks until we start seeing some aggressive price action here for AVAX. So that then leads us to go look into Joule, right? It leads us to go look into Joule. And when we start with Joule, we're going to start macro, right? And the macro picture for Joule is going to tell us some things about what we have in store. Before we do that, going to just check into the chat really quickly, okay? And we have Zen in the building. He says, LFG, let's effing go. Just trying to stay awake for the Jewelers Live and learn the Zen, are you where are you, Zen? Where in the world are you? I'm on the East Coast. Zen, you are in the right place. How you been, fam? Yeah, for sure. We have Red Room. Let's talk Moksha. Ooh, we're gonna look at Moksha. Okay, look, these are the suggestions. All right, I'm gonna leave like 10-15 minutes for the room suggestions, right? We have tier suggestions here. I got like 28 Moksha in 36 hours. My goodness, Beeb, this is crazy. Dang, that's right. How many heroes do you have? Okay, so Zen is on Central Time. Okay, so yeah, it's listen, I used to go to sleep super late. Now I try to stay up, above 12 p.m. on the weekends. But let's take a look at Joule. Let's break down Joule. Let's see here. Zen says I'm usually waking up as you are going to sleep. Wow. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. So we're gonna look at Joule, right? We spoke about Bitcoin, we spoke about AVAX, and Bitcoin tells you what happens in all of crypto. AVAX tells you what's gonna happen in all of in all of DeFi kingdoms, right? Kind of even Solana kind of tells you what's going to happen in all of layer one. And Solana and AVAX are both layer ones, right? And so Jewel is the Bitcoin of the entire DeFi Kingdom's ecosystem. Even though with my economic hardening theory, you have other things in this ecosystem that will run on its own, fruition, right? But what are we looking at with Joel? When we are looking at Joel on the weekly chart, very similar to Bitcoin, very similar to AVAX, this weekly mid Bollinger here after running up about 700%, right? And so when you have the larger cap ecosystems like Bitcoin, you're going to have Bitcoin ran up a bunch of a percent, right? But AVAX ran up even more, right? Bitcoin ran up 200%, AVAX ran up 500% when it ran. And then DeFi Kingdom slash Jewel ran up 700% when it made its run, right? We can use a little measuring ruler here. All right. Jewel ran up about 1,000% from the lows. But from when it made this impulse, it ran up about 700%, right? So you're going to fall further, but you're going to rise higher, right? That's what you need to understand. And so after this 700% run, Jewel has had this from the top. And we said what? It is normal to have a 50 to 60% correction on the chart, even if you're a strong mover. But even in crypto, you can have a 60 to 66% correction. Well, from the top, Jewel had a 77% correction, a heavy overreaction. Okay. And so we're working through that right now. What we can attest to is that RSI is higher, which is bullish, right? You have this increasing RSI here generally, and you have the RSI actually starting to make a turn. The one thing that shows me that Jewel still has some turmoil to go through is this MACD. A MACD is a late indicator of what is to happen. And a MACD, for the first time in DFK's history, is finally turning through its bearish trend, right? Working through its bearish trend in order to find a way to turn up. And the last time that we had this here is the last time that Jewel made its way to 30 cents from where it was before. But in the entire history of Jewel price action, it has not gone back to a place where it was working through a MACD area. So that's important to know, right? Because when we look at the monthly chart, what is the 200-week moving average on the monthly chart doing? After forever of the 200-week monthly chart doing this downturn, DeFi Kingdom slash Jewel, very similar to Bitcoin, very similar to AVAX that we just looked at on the technical charts. The 200-week moving average on the monthly is finally starting to curve around. And that is the most bullish thing that we can see on this monthly chart, period, for the longevity of how long we've been tracking Jewel. And so when we then shrink down to the weekly, okay, the weekly has already made that move. The weekly has already made that move where it is starting to turn around from this long-term downwards trajectory. We were following pattern after pattern after pattern. The first one being bullish divergence, where price is going down, but RSI is coming up. The second one being inverse cup and handle, okay, where it's the inverse, I'm sorry, inverse head and shoulders, whereas the inverse of the regular head and shoulders, that's a bearish pattern. Then we had this breakout of this inverse head and shoulders. And now we're having to cool off to then form what? Another macro pattern called the cup and handle. And the further the handle goes, the bigger upside you're going to see. And for us to get out of here, it's not going to look like a straight line. And so what are we looking forward to with Jewel? We're looking to work around this area of consolidation. We're looking for price action to hang around the weekly mid Bollinger for quite some time. We're looking a little bit more granularly at the 3-day chart. And when we're looking at this 3-day chart, RSI comes now into favor, where we're seeing that regardless of where RSI goes, as long as it continues to come back, right? Come back, test this region, test this region, test this region, continue to make higher highs, we can expect Jewel to continue to rise in price. Volume precedes price, and we're starting to get volume back into Jewel. And so on the 3-day chart, Jewel is really working its way around here on this on this MACD here. And as long as we continue to get RSI trending up, MACD turning around, and even the stochastic, which determines momentum, still really extremely bullish. When we dig into the daily, the support that we have for Jewel here after following this macro inverse head and shoulders is 15.99, and we are already starting to see stages, right? Stages of higher lows being formed in this price action. So really and truly, as this mid Bollinger on the daily comes here, I don't care if what happens is price comes down again to retest about 18 cents. We can follow this here. But if we see turmoil in the market, I don't mind if Jewel comes to really test this area. And now we need to see higher lows form here. But we have our first indicator of higher lows in this section. So we're going to draw a trend line and try to follow this over time. All in all, if we go back to the weekly and the macro aspect of things, where are we looking at for Jewel? We're looking to finalize this cup and handle, formulate our way here to come back and test 75 cents. Okay. What is it going to take for us to get from where we are now there? It's going to be about a 290% run from where we are currently just to test that previous high. We're looking at 94 cents. We're looking at $1.30. And we're looking at an area where I think is the biggest battle period. Biggest battle period is this $3.76 area for Jewel. And we have other metrics and other things that we've laid out. And we'll talk about that as that comes down the line. But all in all, we're watching this cup and handle here and we're following it. That's what we're looking at for Jewel. This MACD tells us that we still have some sluggish consolidation to go through. And don't be surprised at a retest of possibly 15 to 16 cents. All right. Now, what does this say for everything else in the ecosystem? Well, everything else in the ecosystem has room to flourish based on supply and demand and what we have going on in the overall ecosystem. We are now going to look at other picks, all right, that some individuals have. All right. I heard Moksha Room come up. So we're going to look at Moksha Room. Okay. And before we do, I'm going to share this Moksha Room screen here, and we're going to go granular. All right, we're going to go big picture. We're going to look at Moksha Room. Okay. Let me go to Moksha Room weekly chart. Okay. And I'm gonna dig into the chats real quick. We've got about 13 minutes before the jewelers come on. I'm going to look at some of the chats here. Zen, you're the only grown up in the room. I don't sleep enough. We're gonna run through some of these. 10-4 big dog. I gotcha. Of course. Shout out to Kong. So ready for this item economy to start pumping. It's been a long time. Yes. BYOP may be great for item economy. Yeah, I think in our following future streams, we're gonna start looking at those potions. Even today, I will quickly look over to those potions as well. Oh my God, just got a boar mask from the boar hunt. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. Oh man, I love that. I got a boar mask too. It was awesome. But congrats on that. You get a live congratulations on that. So we had Moksha Room requested. So we're going to spend this last 12 looking at the Moksha Rooms. If you stay this long. Really and truly, thank you for being here. Thank you for staying here. This has been a 3-hour stream, so it's been wonderful. It's been excellent. We're gonna look at mushrooms. If anybody else has any other suggestions, let me know. Again, to Koei Shai Chen. I hope I'm saying Chien. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thanks for being here. You've really hung up today. You've been a sport. And congratulations on landing your gore mass. There's only about 180 of them. No, 150 of them that exist. So you got a wonderful drop there. A wonderful drop there. So moksha runes, right? We had somebody suggest moksha runes. Now, who's the one that suggested moksha runes? Are you still here? Let me go back to the chat and see if I can see it. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think I see it. The chat's been going off today, right? Chat's been going off today. So if you're the one that suggested moksha runes, just leave a comment there. Oh yeah, okay, you did too. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I love moksha. So look, what have we been seeing with moksha runes, right? What we've seen with moksha runes is Dex Screener listed moksha runes in 2022, July of 2022. But moksha runes have existed way before that, and moksha runes had a high of $40 back in the day. You know, when I was talking to Zealous, I said that volume precedes price. And what we had here for moksha runes is a bear market, right? A bear market here where we had price go down. And what we had was a recovery, right? And this is the cup and handle that I'm talking about with Jewel. You see it in moksha runes. This is called a cup, which made a handle and made a hard impulse, which created another handle and a back test of this handle and an even bigger impulse. So this handle is the handle of this cup and handle is still playing out. Okay. And what's happened is we ran to from the bottom here of this handle, we've had a 180% run. Okay. That's cute. All right. Moksha runes from the time in which it left the moksha rune bear market. What kind of percent run have we had? This is the lows, right? This is the lows of moksha runes. And in its lifetime, moksha rune has had a 420-day 3,644% run. That's about a year and change. About a year and change where the moksha rune has done nothing but price up only. Okay. That sounds pretty healthy to me. That sounds really healthy to me. Now, it's never going to go in a straight line because you have your ups, you have your downs, you have your ups, you have your downs. And from the first time moksha rune became bullish, it had a 76% correction. The second time moksha rune made a big run to test its previous highs, it had a 65% correction. The next time it had a big run, it had a 50% correction. The last time it had a really big run, and I have the wrong tool labeled here. The last time moksha rune had a really big run, it had a 67% correction. But from there, it's had a 180% run. And so moksha rune is really healthy. The pattern that is forming right now is a cup and handle. You have volume here. This is a volume indicator. Volume is crazy right now. Right now, we had a downtrend in volume when we had a little bearish period, but oh my goodness, look at that volume. Not only the volume, look at RSI. And we spoke about RSI before, right? I'm going to go into the 3-day chart where every candle is 3 days. We spoke about volume before. The RSI for moksha rune is one of the healthiest things I've seen, period. And what we had with RSI is we've had a downtrend, but we've had a breakout back into the RSI. And what we could be looking for here is a retest of RSI just to find another base before we exit again. And so in the form of thinking that, what are the next prices? We have $2.41. where it actually tried to reach it, almost did. I would say this is kind of not a test, but a test of it. And now we're seeing this back turn here. Hey, if motion rule comes back to 92 cents, especially expecting still some consolidation for the overall stock market, consolidation for the overall cryptocurrency market, if we get a back test with motion rule at 92 cents, best believe I'm finding a way to grab some. But we're looking at the next level, which is $3.29, and then we're looking at $3.87. At that region is a place where if you are somebody who's been dollar cost averaging, not financial advice, if you're somebody who's been dollar cost averaging and stacking mushrooms and trying to hold, and that's an area where it's a very, very important area that you're probably going to have a massive, massive correction there. But that's that next area where we're looking for Moshe price to go to, which is $3.87. And based upon the way Moshe Rune has been behaving, I won't be surprised if it impulses there. But looking at the 3-day chart, we do have some time to go through this corrective period. So I won't be surprised to see Moshe Rune test or try to test and come below below $1. All in all, with this daily candle, which every candle is a day, we have the mid Bollinger coming up here, and so it could be that Moshe Rune finds a way to find some support here. But from what I'm seeing, we could be getting a test at least of between $1.17 and 96 cents here on Moshe Rune. But the future looks bright. Future looks very bright for Moshe Rune. We have only about 5 minutes till the next 5 minutes till the jewelers comes on. Anti-blinding should pump after last AMA. Yeah, I'll look really quickly, Zen, to see if I can find some of these potions. But what I will do in the next few streams is to start charting some of these potions here. Let me see if I put blindness in here. Yeah, I haven't pulled any of these potions up as well. So I'm gonna see if I can find it. If I don't find it, it's all good. I'm gonna start charting some of these potions as well. So with 4 minutes kind of left to go, we're gonna just leave Moksha Runes where they are. Guys, just continue to come visit and have me chart some of these other things here. We are still doing more giveaways, so make sure that if you haven't entered some of those, you follow my Twitter. All right, go follow my Twitter and go find those giveaways and go partake in there. I refer to this tool when I try to gauge what to do with my mokshas. Hey, listen, the charts don't lie. Charts give you a lot of good feedback here. And I love seeing the volume here for Moksha. And yeah, when Moksha Rune ran to $2, ran to 170, I sold some of those to do what? I used some to level heroes, but I also sold some to buy more bloaters. I sold some to buy more items that I need for these potions as well. And so consumptive community, consumptive utility, you gotta love it. Big shout out to Zealous for coming in and stopping by and showing some love and talking about the AI feature. I believe the AI narrative is going to start to be placed into the thought process and the sentiment of DeFi kingdoms. And now that we're going to have that AI connection, I think that's only going to lead room for more bullish action moving forward. Want to thank everybody for coming in. This has been awesome. This has been wonderful. Make sure to tap into the giveaways. We will see you on the next macro podcast. It has been wonderful, guys. You guys have a great night. Make sure to tune into the Jewelers podcast, and we will see you on the next one.
Hey. Whoa. Yeet. Whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa. Welcome trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Hey. Hey. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. It's a macro Saturday. Welcome to the trade room, y'all. Happy to see you guys in here. It's the trade room, y'all. We got charts today. We go macro. We thinking big picture. Let's go now. Let's go now. Let's go now. Welcome to the trade room, y'all.